Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the UK League Championship for the finals day. My name is Jake Hitbrain Matthews and I'm joined by Kernan the Scoundrel Low. Oh boy, it's come all down to this, Fnatic Rising versus Diabolus.
Yeah, I think a lot of the season has been building towards this matchup. Most people seeing that these two are the teams that took ahead in terms of the regular season. Diabolus have looked pretty much unstoppable throughout the regular season as well. Fnatic have suddenly hit form, come back to that form that we expect of the LEC sister team. And things are looking pretty spicy for this best of 5.
Things are looking very dicey as well. But if you guys want to get in touch with us, you can head over to our Twitter at LVPUK. Use that hashtag UKLC to get in touch with us. We've got various things going on with Twitter today.
We do. If you have a sound that you would like to be played during Baron Nashor spawned, please send us that sound on Twitter with the hashtag UKLC and also at LVPUK. And we may include it in the show when Baron spawns in one of the games. I believe
we do have a sample sound, but I'm not 100% certain on that. No, that would have been the moment when it would have played, so I'm assuming we don't have a sample sound. Can head over to our YouTube channel, though, if you want to hear that sound, because we did play it yesterday in yesterday's shows, LVP UK over on YouTube, sorry. Catch up on all of our previous VODs and videos, but don't do that until after today.
Yeah, and also make sure you go and check out forgeofchampions.com because the Forge of Champions is returning and we have sign-ups that are open. So you can go and check out forgeofchampions.com and you can go and sign up there and find out all the information about the upcoming Forge of Champions tournament, which I believe is starting in May. So you can get involved with essentially the off-season championship that we're holding here at the LVP UK.
All right, well, let's have a little look at that Baron sound you guys can vote for. As this is it, right here. This is Donald Duck, wasn't it?
So yeah, that's the Baron. That's the type of thing that you can vote for on Twitter at LVPUK, hashtag UKLC. Send us a sound that you think would be funny. We kind of want funny/meme sounds for the spawning of Baron Nashor, and it may get included in the show. you guys at home have that opportunity to have your influence on the broadcast.
But to go a little bit further into our final game of the day, our final game of the, not the day, of the
season,
of
mate.
the season. I mean, it is technically by that. We're going to pass over to Orcs, who's going to break down all of our action a little bit more.
Hi guys, so I'm here to break down the rosters. Obviously, most of you have seen them before between Diabolus and Fnatic, our top 2 teams in the UKLC, but I'll be delving a bit into what we expect from the players. We've obviously seen them playing throughout the tournament, so shouldn't be too big of a surprise, but I'll be able to run down and just give you a little brief intro as to what we should really expect from them. So first up, I'm going to talk a little bit about Fnatic. Fnatic have been a really solid team. They've had some ups and some downs, but obviously you'd expect that. The same thing happened with their LEC main team. And I've got to say that they've really bounced back. Dan's really impressed me in the jungle. He's had a solid performance on playing a lot more aggressively. Because we kind of criticised him a bit, saying he was a farming jungler, but definitely more aggressive throughout. And this is a full roster. Shikari in the top lane, Dan in the jungle, Magi Felix mid, X-Mighty carry, and they're running with Targmas support, who is their new sub support. So pretty solid roster all around. I think a lot of people said it was the most stacked roster coming into the UK, but they've had some performances which weren't so swell, but coming into playoffs, they look absolutely on form. So their competition is obviously Diabolus, who they've also put up a solid performance. A lot of people didn't expect them to challenge the LEC sister teams, XL and Fnatic, but they managed to secure first seed coming into playoffs, which also gave them a spot for the play-ins in EU Masters. So there's Kerberos top, Monkeys in the jungle, Krogs in mid, Yusa Idikari and Hadasport. And I think for me, the matchup to watch is really the jungle matchup. Monkeys and Dan have both had such stellar performances throughout, so I mean, I think it's going to come down to who can perform better. The rest of the roster of Diabolus has been performing pretty solidly. Everyone has shown on that team that they can carry. It just comes down to who brings the big performance and who can make the big plays. So that's a bit of a brief rundown of the 2 teams. I think we've seen some crazy things throughout the split. We've seen some wild action. But yeah, hopefully we'll get to see more today.
I broke my headset.
You broke your headset?
Oh, I dropped Tibbers, I broke my headset, it all fell apart. He's still dancing though, which
I
is probably
can't see anything. I don't know why I decided to combine the two of them.
You went duck and crab.
Okay, how close to the camera am I?
You're pretty close.
Okay.
Keep going.
Yeah.
All right, about there. Now drop a little bit. There we go. Now dance.
Okay, all right.
Back to dance. Oh. Whoa.
It's actually horrific in
Yeah, I don't know why he did that. What are we doing?
I don't know. Dan's being forced to dance. Unfortunately, I can't actually hear the music in my earset.
No,
so
I can't either. So it's actually quite hard to dance when you can't.
Yeah,
hear
that was unfortunate.
That was all I could hear was that.
Oh, why am I over here? We've got to send Dan over here.
Yeah, we actually do need Dan over here.
Come on, look at this one.
Well, I'm going in this spot, am I today?
So I'm not actually going to be casting this series. I'm going to be handing it over to Dan and Jake. I'm just letting Dan take on his crab costume. Unfortunately, I couldn't actually hear the crab music, and I was really looking forward to that because that's one of my favourite songs. Crab Rave is actually just one of my favourite songs, I was really looking forward to dancing to it, but I can't hear it. So unfortunately, you know, just think.
We just put a duck helmet on.
I did have a duck helmet on, but I do actually quite like wearing it. But it does get a bit stuffy in there.
It's that's why I didn't put the horse one on.
Well, I didn't know if you could get the horse one on with the crab hat. You see, that was kind of thing. And I didn't really see how effective it was. I asked Dan how much of the music he heard and how kind of into it he got when he gets onto the.
Not a lot, apparently.
Dan's saying he actually didn't hear a lot of the music, so he's probably just sitting there going, I don't know what I'm dancing to.
It's quite hard to dance when you don't have music.
No.
It's
As you can see, UK players hate us, but everybody else, we're going to be jumping into the series. Obviously, it's really, really important one. I know we have a bit of fun here at the UKLC, and I know it probably doesn't make much sense to you guys at home, but This is a really important series now. There's a big amount on the line. Both of these teams have automatically qualified for the EU Masters, but they were playing for the group stage play-in spot, which is obviously the sort of the easier spot to get in terms of going further in the competition. And they'll also be playing for the champion of the UKLC. I'm going to hand over to Dan now. Literally just going to do it on camera because why not?
Yeah.
Mom says it's my turn to cast.
All right, I'm pretty excited to get into this. Obviously, we had a little bit of a weird start to the show, like yesterday, like every day.
Yep, no kidding.
But it is now time for the grand finals here at the UK League Championship.
This is throwing me off because I'm on this side. And
Yeah, I know. I've actually never stood on that.
Want to swap?
Yeah, let's swap. This is weird. Don't stand on my cable though.
Okay.
Like a
This is better.
Do
Do we use them?
Well, no.
Not yet.
No,
Well,
maybe later.
okay.
All right, I'm hoping we get to pick some bands fairly soon. Then we can.
Yeah, I mean, the players have been waiting. Apparently, they've been waking up at 9 a.m. to be ready for this. So, I mean, I get...
Man, waking up at 9 a.m. What a
Wow,
hard life, right?
how unlucky. It's not like, you know, I have to wake up at 5 a.m. to get here. But it's all for the UKC, and so we love to do it. That's what we're passionate about.
Yeah. There's actually a microphone there. An inflatable microphone that you can't actually see it.
Do we bring it in?
Well, yeah, you might as well now.
Yeah, okay.
There we go. So actually, what's really going on? Yeah, sorry. So what's really going on is these don't work. These aren't real. We just use them for looks. We have a bunch of these just hanging around the ceilings and just picking up all of the noise of the room. And
Very
that's,
legitimate.
Yeah, that's why. So I'm just gonna throw that over there. There we go. Into picks and bans for our first game. Fnatic Rising will be starting up on that blue side. Diabolus on the red side. And I'm assuming Diabolus got priority on side selection for game 1, 3, and 5.
Because that's seed 1, so 1, 3, and 5, they get side selection. They chose red side to suit their devilish color. And very quickly, they're targeting the champion pool of Kerberos. We saw Yorick available to him all 3 games, and unsurprisingly, he picked it all 3 games. Fnatic don't let him even get it for 1. So quick bans to come in, and Diabolus, they're answering kind. Zoe's fairly standard. We've seen that ban across the board, but all of that is definitely directed at the jungler, because Dan has shown a massive preference to play on that. Although he's shown he will play the Rek'Sai and had a pretty solid performance on that yesterday.
All right, so let's see what Fnatic decide to ban away as their 3rd and final ban in this first phase. Going to take that Orianna, deny that from Krogson. Again, that was banned away from him pretty much every game yesterday. Didn't want to see him get his hands on that.
Yeah, Diabolus. I mean, I'm expecting the Silas to come out here. It's still so strong. Yeah, it does come through. So that now leaves Fnatic in a position where they could first pick the Jarvan. They've been known to do that regularly. The Braum is also a good option. They did that yesterday. There are things like the Lucian open, but it all comes down to what they want to play and what they think is going to give them the best chance, because we've seen that Fnatic like to vary things quite a bit, but they are going with what they did yesterday. The Braum first pick comes out. So now over to Diabolus, they have the choice of picking up something like the Galio Jarvan, although I don't think you take both here, or they could take the Lucian to deny that Lucian Braum lane. So it comes down to, do they think they can play that matchup effectively? Cave's always going to do his little charm with the hovers, but...
Yeah, I mean, you're never going to see Master Yi. As much as I'd love to see Kerberos' Master Yi, we're not going to see it. So it looks like they're going to go into probably an AD support here as they take away the Vayne, so they get themselves a nice comfortable pick. But that Jarvan, like you said, is open as well, so they could probably go for support 3rd pick, or maybe try and get themselves a nice mid lane pick, depending on what Magic Felix picks up.
They've definitely grabbed a ton of scaling already with that Vayne, and then the Jarvan. It's a great flex for them, but it's expected. The answering kind, Dan, when he's off his Olaf, he goes for that Rek'Sai. The Lucian comes in, so we have that Lucian Braum lane for Might and Targamas. And now Diabolus in a position where they can pick a support to give Vayne a bit of better time before they get banned away. Or you can go for something like a top lane or a mid laner and then ban away counters. I think top lane would kind of give away a lot of your draft, because then you know the Jarvan's going in the jungle, but you might be okay with that because you know what you're going up against. So we'll just have to wait and see what they decide. They go for the Lissandra. That makes a lot of sense to me. That makes a lot of sense. It's fairly strong. Krogson's been good in it. It helps with the team fighting, and also it means that you can start really hammering away a Magic Felix pool. The big one's a Corki.
Yeah, that was the one I was expecting to see banned away. What's next, though?
Even without Magic Felix, it's a good matchup into Lissandra. Next, I mean, into Lissandra in particular, you could focus away. I mean, to be honest, it's more what Magic Felix is willing to play, because I think Corki is his go-to against the Lissandra. And that limits his pool quite a bit. Galio makes sense because you can have that Jarvan Galio combo. They could go for something like the Rise, or they could go for something that does well in that 1v1 matchup. You know, Cassiopeia is pretty effective against the Lissandra. It comes down to what do they think Magic Felix will play, because as one of our players, he's probably shown the least in terms of champion pool. He's been very rigid. It's like he's played Lissandra, Corki, or Victor.
Yeah.
And it's pretty much been sticking to those. There have been occasions where he's done more, but they're actually going to target Shikari's Kennen, so he's been picking this so often when it's been available, and his team fighting's been excellent on it. We'll see what Fnatic go with the next one. Alistar would probably be a pretty common one, or they could go for something that's directed more at the top lane or the jungle if they think they have an idea where the Jarvan's going. Go for that Kayle, so not wanting to give that over to Kerberos, a bit cautious the scaling of it.
I think when you've got a Vayne already with Alessandra, if you just add more scaling to the mix, it can be really hairy. So I understand why they ban that way. What is interesting is both of these teams have been opting away from that Taric Sona that we did see at the beginning of
I think you have to be very confident to opt into that. And
yeah.
How they're going to take the Rakan, so is feeling slightly better after the couple of buffs in the recent patches, but to me, that's a risky lane into the Braum Lucian because you can never go in as the Rakan. You can never go in because you'll get stunned up and die. So Hado and Yusa have to play that lane, complete the scale. Go over this Fnatic Rise. I would not be surprised at all to see the Rise here. I thought maybe Diabolus were going to ban it away.
Yeah.
I think it's a good matchup, and it gives you that 1-3-1 potential later on. And you're a bit too bulky with the items you pick up to really be killed by the Lissandra, so you're just happy to scale up. Now of the Shikari, blind, so it could be into the job and it could be into something else. I think you just take something that's pretty stable. He's shown that he's happy to take things like the Renekton, and with Kennen off the table, maybe he'd be more willing to blind that. It comes down to what you think is going to provide for the team. Cho'Gath is a big one that's open that Kerberos might play if Shikari takes something not too committal, and he actually goes for the Ornn, so I expect to see Kerberos answer this with the Cho'Gath. I think you have enough damage in your team composition already, and that he's shown that's what he likes to play, but this gives a bit of scaling back towards Fnatic, because when you get those late game items, they really can make a big difference.
I have to see what Diabolus decide to lock in here for Kerberos. They could always send that Jarvan top lane and pick a different jungler as well if they want, but I think you might be right. Looks like the Cho'Gath is going to be on the menu here for Kerberos, and rounding out the picks, we've got two front lines for both Fnatic and Diabolus, which is nice. They've got beefy tanks who are going to stand at the front. You've got, you know, Xmadi and Yusa who have similar range on their carries. Both want to kind of get quite close into the fight and be navigating those fights with the movement they've got in their kit. I'm going to be pretty excited to see how this game goes.
Yeah, I've got to say, to me, the early pressure is on the side of Fnatic. Braum Lucian's such a strong lane. Ryze, you can use the Realm Orb to impact the map more, and the Rek'Sai as well can just make some really dominant ganks. The issue comes is when they get later on. If you look at the composition of Diabolus, you're really going to struggle to deal with that Vayne, and then on top of that, the Cho'Gath, there's no real answer to him. Ryze and Lucian aren't good at killing tanks.
Yeah.
And so late game, I feel like Diabolus' front line is just going to be too strong. The Vayne's going to pump out too much damage. So I think Fnatic, they've drafted in a situation where they want to get ahead early and make things happen. They've got the tools to. They just have to make sure they capitalize.
And one of the things that, you know, one of my criticisms about Fnatic Rising was that Dan, you know, played more to the jungle just to farm a little bit of counter jungling here and there and tried to deny that way. But he wasn't really impacting the map outside of neutral objectives. Yeah. Wasn't actually ganking his lanes. Arguably, you could argue the fact that he was playing Karthus for the first 3 weeks, which pretty much that's how you play Karthus.
But it felt like he was even doing that on Olaf.
But he was doing that on Olaf. But as the tournament has gone on, he's got more impactful. And yesterday was when we saw what everyone would have been telling us about what Dan had actually been like as a player. Yeah. He was very proactive. He was constantly putting pressure onto the map. He was always in the lanes. And it set Fnatic up for success. And it was on that Rek'Sai as well.
Absolutely, but he needs to make that happen again because they've put themselves in a situation, and this is fine. It's fine to say this is our win condition, but I think if you get to like the 25, 30-minute mark and they haven't got to a position where they're way ahead in the game, I'm really going to start worrying for Fnatic because I just don't think they've been giving themselves the tools to punish Matty on this Vayne and to even deal with that massive tanky Cho'Gath. And Monk has shown he will vary his builds quite a bit, but if you go the tanky Jarvan and the tanky Cho'Gath, it's going to take you so long to cut through them. By that time, you've just lost a team fight.
Well, I want to ask your prediction coming into this series. Actually, before we head in, how do you think this whole series is going to go? Fnatic, Diabolus, I want how many games you think it's going to take? I
think it's going to be 3-2 to Fnatic, and I think Diabolus is going to win game 1.
Oh, okay.
That is my prediction. So,
is that just off the draft for game 1, or?
Yeah. Okay. I think Fnatic have shown that they can sometimes be a bit slow to get going, and I think if they don't come out full speed against Diabolus, they will lose this game out. I think that's probably what's going to happen game 1, but I think they'll hit their form. They'll get 2 wins in a row, and then although Diabolus will bring one back to equalize, I think Fnatic will come out because they look really strong.
That's a really, you've actually predicted the whole series.
I'm going really into it. If I'm wrong, then you know, at least I tried.
At least we tried. I'm predicting we see Kale at least once if we go all the way to 5.
We already saw it in the bans. But
yeah, we've seen it in the bans,
picks?
but I mean in the actual game, yeah.
Well, Shikari's been showing he's willing to play it.
Kerb's willing to play it, we know that as well.
Yeah,
although
I think
Shikari definitely had a better game than Kerb Ross did.
Yeah, but even then it felt like it's one of those things where you feel like when you get to late game, you should just be able to take over with this champion, but sometimes if you're threatened, it can be difficult, because Shikari lost his game where he was on the Kale and got pretty fed. And I think it just comes down to filling the team. And even the one win we've seen in the UK so far for Kale, which was for M&M, it wasn't really Mummus who was doing the carrying. It was more him ulting the Cogmore.
And you could also argue that Mummus was also stopping 2 split pushes at the same time.
Yeah, like he definitely did his job, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I think people have looked at this Kale and gone, you hit level 16 and you just mow everything down in front of you. And I think because of her range, it's sometimes a bit trickier.
Well, it looks like we're heading on to Summoner's Rift for our first game of the UKLC finals. Diabolus will be starting up on that red side with Fnatic rising on the blue. I'm pumped to get into this.
Absolutely, so am I. And it is Diabolus', as we said, side choice for game 1. So they went into this wanting the red side. We'll have to see if it pays off for them. I predicted that yes, it will in game 1, but we'll have to see.
Youth has opted in to the Doran Shield. Pretty standard start on a Vayne, where Xmadi knows that this is an aggressive lane, knows that he wants to be trading, so he's taking himself the Doran Shield sword. Out of that, starting items, not really too much to talk about on that front.
And just to see that Magifelix has gone for the Aftershock. So there's been a bit of variation recently with the Rise as to whether they go Aftershock or Phase Rush. It does mean that he'll be a bit beefier when he does proc that, harder to take down. So again, I think it benefits him more in the mid game. I think Phase Rush scales better because at the late stages, it makes it just so easy to maneuver around team fights. But I think in the mid game, you want those extra resists or in the early levels. So, you know, it just doesn't mean that Fnatic, they know their win condition and they know what they're playing for. Again, if they get a 25, 30 minutes and they haven't found their success in this game, I'm going to be a bit concerned.
Well, mirrored start here. Monkers and Dan both on that bot side of the map. Scrogson looking just to force Magifelix out of lane, but actually was unsuccessful in landing 2 Qs in a row.
A lot of back and forth. I feel like players are just going to be testing the water in this game. They will go for some aggressive trade and see what happens. You see Crogson giving it back to Magifelix there.
Well, you guys on your screen can see right now, the poll has started. Hashtag FNC or hashtag DBL. Let us know who you think is going to win this game in that Twitch chat.
Looking very Fnatic favored right now. But Diabolus fighting back. You know, got to give him some respect.
Well, Fnatic got that early level 2 in the bot lane, pushing up Yusa and Hado. This is exactly what you said with the Rakan. He has to play fairly safe.
Yeah, I mean, there's certain lanes with the Rakan that you just really can't go in on unless you have backup. You can't W in unless you have your jungler there to follow up, because you'll just get stunned up and die so quickly. The Braum applies the passive, the Lucian can proc it very quickly, and sure, Rakan has a way to get out, but he is very squishy for one of these engaged supports. So I think you just play on the side of safety, and essentially, Yusa and Hado are playing this for a scaling lane. That's a big reason why Yusa has that TP, so if he does get chunked out, he doesn't lose a bunch of CS. And I mean, it is going to scale. Vayne, Rakan, I think as far as lanes go that scale, pretty solid.
Well, Kerb already being pushed in there as well. It's equal in CS though, so he's fine for the moment.
Jungler's been fairly slow so far. Just both going for a full clear, each taking a scuttle. Not made anything happen yet, but after this first jungle clear, that's where I'm looking to see what happens. And ping actually comes out from Dan, so I think he's misread where Monkers is. He thinks that he's either at his Raptors or his Raptors are still up. Warning pings come out, so he has been spotted. He's looking for Monkers.
He's got that tunnel. Monkers not going to get his base cancelled because Dan can't see him.
Yeah, crucially, the Tremor Sense doesn't help if they're standing still. So it looked a bit funny to us, but Dan did not have that information. But he knows that the camps have been cleared. He has to expect where he is roughly. And now, Target Master Matty will go and place some vision control down because they expect the next place Monkers will be farming is on that bot side as he just finished off the top side of his jungle. Question mark pings come out. They're wondering where he is.
Well, there are no camps up at the moment on that top spot side to track when those do start to come up.
Chrissy, Magic Felix has also not taken the cleanse in this lane. It does mean he'll be more of a split push threat later, but once Krogson hits that level 6, there's definitely a very real gank threat onto this Ryze, so you have to be cautious playing around that.
Well, looks like the vote's wrapping up. Almost 60% of you believe Fnatic are going to take this game, but Monkeys might have something to say about that. It's getting spotted out on these wards that were placed down by X-Manny and Targamas.
Yeah, good move to use the enemy sweeper, so it does clear actually both of those out. They know where he is, but the wards are now gone, so where he moves from there will be pretty free. Been quite a slow game so far, and I think both teams are just testing the water. I do think that Fnatic need to get the tempo going a bit more to sort of meet their mid-game win condition. Because if they do get to the late game, they're kind of relying on Magifelix split push to win. And the thing is, Krogson has TP as well. And unless Magifelix gets super far ahead, it's quite difficult to ensure you find that. And Dan is looking for a gank here because the wave's pushing in. They know Monkeys is around mid. He's clearing this camp on a ward. And actually, I think Dan's coming over to try and stop this, but...
Oh yeah, spotted him. Tremor Sense is there, gets the knock up, but Krogson, level 6 being hit, the claws coming through, and Dan forced to flash away to safety. Targamas might just look to try and rotate here, but Hado hot on his back.
I think it was just overzealous from Dan. He goes in a level down. His mid laner had just recalled, so he calls from the TP back in, but he was there too late. Dan loses his flash, and that may not seem huge, but on a Rex side, that's a big part of your ganking pressure, is that flash knockup, and without that, definitely a win for Diablos to negate that pressure somewhat.
I mean, speaking of negating pressure, Yusa, you know, he's comfortable. He's equal in CS to X-Maddie. And this is into a very potent lane. The Braum Lucian, just so much strong synergy between the pair of these champions.
But I just got to respect the way Hado's been playing it, is that you basically have to play like you don't have your W to go in, and it means that you're not going to get locked up and taken out. And they know if they just pick up the farm, if they just minimize the damage they take, use the Rakan's built-in sustain, they're going to be fine. And first Dragon picked up, it's a mountain for Diablos, and that's a pretty big one to get, because a Vayne and a Cho'Gath makes your objective control very good. 2-item Vayne can take down any neutral objectives fast, and the Cho'Gath Feast obviously makes it very difficult to look for a steal, so a good one to take by all means in these early levels.
Easier, secure. But for now, 7 minutes on the clock. Gold is dead even between Fnatic and Diabolus. Although Fnatic pulled themselves a 300 gold lead ahead.
Mai's actually on no mana, so they're actually going to look for something here.
Jump in, but Dan's also coming in. The concussive blows, not enough to actually get the stun off.
No,
they chase it. Maddie gets the flash up. Hado's forced to flash away. The ignite goes down. Winter's Bite procs, and Fnatic.
Picture that exact same play, but Dan had his flash. Hado would have died.
Yeah.
100%. And that's what I'm talking about. Without that flash, there's so much less pressure from the Rex side. Houston had to go aggressive when they thought they could. And to be honest, they didn't really get punished for it. Yes, Hado lost his summoners, but it's Rakan. He's pretty safe anyway. And in return, they got both the Maddie summoners and the ignite from that Braum. So definitely a win out from them. And now they're going to look towards Shikari in the top lane. And I don't think he's going to survive this 3-man gang.
He has ulti, but it's not going to do much. He gets flagged and dragged onto, and Kerberos feasts him for first blood.
And that is the issue. You make a play on the bot side of the map, and then it's go time for Diablos. They know they're not going to get counter-ganked if they go top. It's very easy to pull off. And as a result, they get a kill off the back of Dan's presence being bot lane.
This wave is going to push in, crash into the Fnatic bot lane. X-Maddie will lose a few of these minions, if not all of them actually. It's quite a way away. Dan will spot Monkeys out now. Got that level 6 as he tunnels over. Teleports are coming in. They've got the slowdown. The knockup lands. Targamas coming in. That's going to be the call of the Forge God into the zone as Dan takes him out. Curb forced to run away.
Yeah, good move from Targamas, and this is what I was talking about the other day. Support should always walk through mid before they go towards bot lane. They don't need to be there straight away. It means you can assist. He's looking for it again, but Krogson does just back out. But that's the difference. Having the Braum there as well made it from a 2v2 to a 3v2, and there was just no way Monkeys was going to survive that or be able to turn it around. And very quickly, Fnatic start to equalize this game, only 300 gold down.
Killer piece. Curb's got that first kill, but it's onto the tank. You could argue Dan getting the kill is pretty big. He's opted into that Hail Blades as well. We had a bit of a talk about this yesterday, whether or not we thought that Hail Blades or Conqueror.
A lot of it seems personal preference, but I have seen a lot of people go Conqueror even after the nerf, so a lot of people are saying it's dead. It's press the attack or Hail Blades, but press the attack I am not seeing very much from XI, and it's pretty much torn between Hail Blades and Conqueror. Dan is always gone Hail Blades.
Well, I asked you for your prediction for this game. I do believe DogChamps also made her prediction for the game. Fabulous. That's a cute dog.
DogChamp agrees with me, so gotta respect it. But Fnatic definitely still in this game, even though the predictions are going against them. They wanted to play that underdog style of play.
Looks like Croxton should be able to get a free plate here. Yes, he does. Magic Felix goes in for a trade onto him. Does a lot of damage.
That's the thing with the Lissandra vs Ryze matchup. Lissandra's ult makes it very favored here, but she has to use it. If you're trading without the ult, Ryze actually has a lot of damage, that shielding comes in pretty big, and having already picked up the Merc treads, there's a limited amount you can do. Okay, Russ taking a lot of damage there, but he might actually be able to turn that around.
So still have that feast. The claw comes out, not going to follow it up.
I think maybe lacking the vision control. I think the key thing is look at the bot lane of Lucian and Braum. They were walking up the river, so didn't want to look for it.
Oh, Monkeys jumps in. I didn't see you picked up the Rift Hill, but Dan looking to get himself the kill. As Zhonya's gets used, the knock-up only lands onto one, but Magic Felix is doing the damage. Dan launches in and gets himself a double kill. Curb's going to be able to feast in for the kill, but the Realm Warp is coming through, and Magic Felix is chasing up for this kill. Flash is available, and Haddo is chasing, but they step away. Fnatic go 2 for 1.
Crucially, it was Fnatic who got that Rift Herald there. Dan picked up as he leaped towards Monkeys on the back end. So they come out pretty favorably, and it should be a good move to get that Rift Herald down. And this is what they need to sort of get back into this game, because they're still doing great now, but they need to get the momentum going for this mid-game to win out. And crucially, Dan having a great game again, 3-1-0. Did fall there, gave the shutdown over to... See a bit of an engage coming up. Haddo has to be careful here, actually.
Yeah, the Ignite is down. Targamas looking to go onto Yusa. Great Condemn to bail him out, but the Winter's Bite stuns him up. They do not have that Glacial Fissure quite yet, and Magic Felix unable to chase.
That's one of the things, going in on the Rakan, there's very little you can do against this lane. And now the Rift Herald's going to get thrown down. There's going to be a lot of plating going over towards Fnatic.
I wonder if the bonus resistances fall off in time. Yes, they do.
That was a lot.
That was a lot of gold, and I think X-Maddie got all of that solo gold as well. It just propels him even further forward. First turret blood goes in favor of Fnatic.
And it's what you need to see. They'll now be able to recall. I think they'll probably make... I mean, it's up to them. They might head towards mid lane and pressure that, because it means they still have control over the Dragon area if they want to contest that objective. Or they could just head straight top, sacrifice the Cloud Dragon, and focus on getting more towers and snowball in the game. I think the decision's been made. They're going to go top lane. They're looking for more towers, but that does mean they'll give it the Cloud to Diabolus. It's not that big of a deal, but it does definitely mean that if you get to the late game when the Elder Dragon's being thrown up for contention, Diabolus will be getting a big reward from that.
X-Maddie's got himself his phase, so he's building towards that Cleaver. That's his next item.
Which I think is a very good call, considering you have to deal with this Cho'Gath, who is already seeming very tanky.
No, Haddo and Targamas. I just having a 1v1. We'll get stunned up. It's just free trade. Doesn't seem worth it anymore, does it?
I mean, he got the pink, so he does force a pink, which is a small victory. But now they have to be very careful, because the gang could come in, and Haddo's ult isn't available yet, but Monkeys is heading straight over, so it should be okay.
Use the Culling just for a bit of poke and shove. But like you said, Monkeys is there, Cataclysm available, Monkeys even clearing out all of these wards.
There's a collapse actually coming in, but Croxton might be in a bit of an unfortunate position. He does back off, though. Seems like Diabolus' bot lane will be safe here. And again, they're just trying to negate the pressure from Fnatic. They're looking to get to the late stages of the game, because right now there's a massive item advantage over the Mighty. And the Rek'Sai is so strong with the completed Warrior and the Merc Treads. Very threatening. Haddo needs to be careful. He's going in now,
though. Comes in with
the
charms, gets a grand entrance onto 2. Monkeys goes in, the Glacial Fissure's there. X-Maddie does find himself the kill. Silver Bolt's not going to do enough to get the kill onto XMaddie. Diabolus just have to walk away.
And that's the issue with playing Rakan in this lane matchup. Very easy to punish. You're so squishy when you go in on this Braum Lucian. And they try and look for the turnaround, but the information wasn't there. If you look at the river, there's so much warding. You can see the vision control now. They could not see where Dan and MagiFelix were, so they didn't want to look for the all-in.
Oh, Dan gets himself the knock-up. Look at a chase. Yusa comes in, the dunk. A great unstoppable, and Dan leaps in for the kill. The run route goes down onto Monkeys, and they find themselves another one. A knock-up, though, followed up by the claw and the root. This will be the end of days for MagiFelix, but Diabolus lose 2 and get 1 once again.
Yeah, and they should be able to push down this top tower. No plating means it's a very quick take for the side of Fnatic. They are playing to their win conditions. They know they need to keep snowballing this game. And Diabolus, very little they can do to stop it, but they're definitely not going the right direction now because Monkeys, we've talked about this jungle matchup. That was my talking point. They've both had such a great season, but Monkeys not having a good start on this Jarvan.
Dan really finding form, and it's absolutely necessary for his team. Both of these teams have made it to EU Masters, but this is for group stages. This is to be the first team to win the UKLC. So much pride on the line for these organizations here.
Absolutely, and I think Fnatic, it's sort of living up to expectations. Coming in, everyone thought Fnatic Rising were the team to beat, but Diabolus, it's sort of achieving what they'd always hoped for, because I know Diabolus just missed out on EU Masters last split at 4G Champions, losing 3-2 in the finals. And although they've guaranteed they've made it, they would love to be able to secure that win this time, make up for last split, and represent the UK as the #1 seed in the tournament. He's getting so big, though.
Yeah, Curb is just starting to build armor as well. Like, he's been running around with an Abyssal Mask for most of this game, so it's going to get harder and harder for Maddie to actually get these kills, and same for Dan.
Right now, it's fine, because Matty's got Blade Black Cleaver, and Crogston actually used his claw there.
Oh, this might be trouble for him. Dan's on that flank. The tunnel comes in. The root's going to be enough as the Glacial Fissure comes down. Uses the ulti on himself, Frozen Tomb for a little bit of time. Crogston flashes away, and XMaddie finishes him up.
I don't know what he was doing there. He used his claw for no reason, gets stuck between the whole of Fnatic and a wall, and then is forced to use his ultimate and his flash and still dies. I'm really questioning what's happening with Diabolus right now. They don't look like the same team we saw yesterday. And Monkeys might just fall for the same trick. He should be able to get out of this one.
They got that knock up, the flag, the drag, the free man by Curb. In comes the grand entrance. The CC's there for Diabolus, but they are looking to have to bail away as Curb will get stunned up. One more auto attack is all they need, and they do find it. There goes the Call of the Forge God, and they're just going to be forced away. A lot used by Fnatic.
Yeah, that was close. So Dan's stopwatch came in clutch because Kerberos was looking to chomp down on him, and that absolutely would have been a kill, and a lot of shutdown gold over that Cho'Gath. And again, people don't like to think that giving tanks gold is that big of a deal, but if you give faster items to the Cho'Gath, especially when it has such a cheap build path, he'll just become more and more unkillable as the game goes on. Right now, Mighty's in a pretty good position to deal damage to him. You know, Blade of the King Black Cleaver is great in the mid game for cutting down tanks, but later on, Lucian just is going to struggle to cut through that tanky boy.
We'll have to pick up that last Whisper if he wants to be able to truly do anything to Curb.
I'm not even sure you do, because normally with the Black Cleaver build, you don't go the Lord Dominix as well. So that you get your armor pen from the Black Cleaver, but really just Lucian isn't the best at cutting through tanks.
Diabolus, though, like you said, good on these objectives. They haven't got the Guinzoos, but half HP should be an easy secure, although the Feast is down for the moment. Shikari comes in, gets caught out by the Frozen Tomb. That will be the Drake. Haddo's taking a lot of the culling. And now you can see Fnatic just jumping onto Curb. The CC is going to come through, and Curb will just be the sacrificial lamb as XMaddie finds the kill. The Realm Warp, actually. Looks like Fnatic are not done here. Just going to get that blue buff, and Crogston's forced to run away with the claw.
Yeah, Monkeys actually caught in a bit of an unfortunate position here, but I'm not sure if Fnatic know. It looks like from the pathing they're not aware, so Monkeys will just be able to recall, but right now there's 4 people pushing down mid, and I don't think Diabolus in a position to defend. They get the Dragon, but they lose Kerberos and potentially a tower on top of that.
Definitely got that demolish. In comes the Call of the Forge God. The bounce house is there. Dan can tunnel over the wall at any moment as XMaddie finds himself one already. It's a double kill for him. He's flashed over by Crogston, who's looking for the kill. The fight is on all front. Monkeys is going to go down. XMaddie almost gets the outplay onto Crogston, but he gets shut down.
Yeah, crucially big shutdown going over to Crogston, but still, Fnatic are in complete control this game, and Diabolus they picked a composition for the late game, and they're going to have to be hoping for that, because right now they are 6,000 goal behind, and it is not looking good for the Devils.
They've had great Drake control, but the rest of the map has gone awry here for Diabolus. And it really has come off the back of Dan, who's done so much work in this early game to make sure Fnatic were relevant at this point.
Absolutely, and they just need to keep the momentum going. This is a great position to be in. This is exactly what I'm talking about. This is where Fnatic want to be, but they need to keep the pressure on. They can't slow down, because it does give away back in the game. Right now, Yusei is a whole line behind Matty. Magic Felix has just picked up that Rylai's, so he's a good 3/4 of an item ahead Krogston. They're in a great position. They just can't slow down, and the next objective that's going to be on the table has to be that Baron.
Well, aside from now, they're just getting vision control around this area, clearing it up, forcing that vision line up. As all of the tier 1s are down. Diabolus yet to take a single turret in this game as well.
Yeah, that just hasn't been a good game so far. The only consolation is they have picked up those dragons and a couple of shutdowns here and there. Crucially, 700 gold went over to Krogston from that kill on Matty, but it's a small consolation prize, and now Fnatic are going to take control of this Baron area, and it's going to make it very tricky for Diabolus to contest. So they want to contest the vision to a degree, but I feel like a team fight is not going to go well here.
Clearing out that red buff here. Krogston looks to run away. Shikari is on that flank with the Call of the Forge God.
With a push and pull, Dan sent up the tunnels for later on. I think they might look just to start it here. Diabolus don't have vision. They do have a blue trinket from Yusa though, so they should throw that down the second they think they're on it. They've got to assume it now. Yep, they
Half
do
HP.
see.
This is going to be hard to contest into a smite and a feast. Tremor Sensor spotted out them sniffing around the back end as Togeris goes in. That's going to be the Call of the Forge God landing onto 2 members. A Realm Warp. Fnatic actually chasing. Xmani jumps in. The quickness. There's not enough. Magic Felix just collapsed Hado.
And Hado is just so squishy. He gets absolutely blown up, and they're going to go for the same play again. Head back over to Baron, and crucially, that blue trinket's been used by Yusa. Their support is down, who is the main source of vision. It's going to be even harder to contest. Fortunately, Krogston's Scrying Orb is available now, so they should be able to get a read on this, but big thing for me is that Kerberos' flash has just come up. A flash chomp is possible, but he's on vision right now, and I don't think they're going to easily give him the chance to do
Monkeys
this.
might just be on the menu. Not going to get those concussive blows off in time, and he's going to be able to slide away to safety. Fnatic playing with respect towards what Diabolus can do in their way back into the game.
I mean, you do not want to go for a 50-50, because it wouldn't be a 50-50 with that Cho'Gath.
It's like a 70-20.
Yeah.
70-30.
The fact that there's
I got maths in the
essentially
morning.
2 people who can use smites on the side of Diabolus, you know they're not going to try and take this Baron if Diabolus are hanging around.
Diabolus now, with all these picks of Fnatic have gone to base, and now Diabolus are able to move in and clear out all of these tunnels, all of these wards. So rapid fire cannon now finished up onto Xmani. He is 2 finished items over Yusa.
We will see Yusa recall. Hopefully he has a Rage Blade here, but if he doesn't, then, I mean, it just makes things even worse. And he picks up the pickaxe, doesn't have the Rage Blade, so yeah, he is so far behind this Lucian. And they picked this Vayne Rakan to scale, and it's really just not been given the time.
Looks like Fnatic once again starting up. That ward is blocked out at the back of the pick. The pink ward's doing a good job to do it.
Should see.
They know it's happening though, because the pink went down in the first place. Half HP on this Baron. Are Fnatic committing? The teleport's coming in. They're going to step away, although they might just turn for the kill. Kerberos is inside of the pit. Tries to find himself a knock-up. Doesn't actually connect it. Next, Matty is just ripping through him. In comes the Call of the Forge God. It's not going to land onto any more targets quite yet. The culling is down. Lots used by Fnatic, but the teleport is now down for Diabolus.
Yeah, I think Fnatic take that. They get the teleport, but again, Diabolus can't complain too much. They did manage to get away. That's one of the risks with TPing into the pit. It's a definite dissuader if this Cho'Gath turns up. He is such a threat with that feast, but at the same time, nearly went down. You can see how strong Matty is as to how much damage he put onto Kerberos there.
Diabolus is doing this? No, they can't. The vision will spot him out, yeah. Fnatic going to get themselves the Ocean Drake, which is great for what they're currently doing for this Baron dance.
They would normally have a fast Baron with the 2 mountains, but the fact that Matty doesn't even have his Rage Blade really...
Yusa.
Yeah, really means you can't do it that speedily, but Fnatic looking in a really great position now. Felix building towards that sort of Bruiser Rise build. We've seen rise in popularity with the Rylai's and the Righteous Glory. So a lot of chase down potential. And I think that's so good here because you see how Diabolus are playing. They are looking to chase people down and pick them. I mean, how Fnatic are playing, they're looking to chase people down and pick them. They use a Realm Orb to get in close, and then if you have a Rise who perma-slows you and has the bonus speed from the Righteous Glory, it's so hard to escape. And I think for a long time, Fnatic's plan is just going to be start the Baron, turn onto Diabolus, until they find an ace, or at least take out Monkeys and Kerberos, because they know the one way they lose this is if they throw a Baron.
Well, Felix actually a bit from a needlessly large rod on that base as well. So maybe Spellbinder, maybe Deathcap. Yeah. I mean, if he gets Spellbinder, he is going to Speedy Boy.
I think if you have the gold, then go towards Deathcap. But he does have the CDR and the mana coming out from that Glacial Shroud. So can't complain too much about that one. Mighty's so strong right now. Has the upgraded Blade of the Ruined King.
I can't remember what it's called. The Blade of the Ruined King upgrade.
The Blade of the slightly less than Ruined King. The Blade of the regular King.
King's Blade.
Is that actually it?
No.
I'm pretty sure it's not Blade of the regular King. Flag will give them vision. They're looking for Haddo.
Oh, Haddo's been stunned. The culling. Oh, X-Mad, takes him out. And Haddo once again gets caught by the Lucian Braum. Teleports coming in as they're looking to get Krogson into the play. Two-man knock-up into the Call of the Forge God. X-Man is forced to jump out. That's going to be the knock-up onto a couple of members. The flash comes in. Monkeys does not get the steal off. X-Man forces the flash out. Now the Realm Warp's coming in, and Fnatic are looking to tighten the noose around Diabolus. With this Baron, with this knock-up, with these kills. Curb is so low, and he's getting ripped through by every member of Fnatic as Felix secures the kill. And it's almost an ace, but one is going to be able to walk away for Diabolus.
Yeah, they managed to get the Baron. They win their team fight as well. It was a good attempt for Monkeys to go in for the steal. Crucially, didn't get it though, and Fnatic going from strength to strength. Again, small consolation prize as a shutdown onto that Lucian, which does mean Yusa can finish his Rage Blade, but still, you're almost 10,000 gold behind. The other team has Baron. Fnatic are completely in control of this game.
Demanding game here by Fnatic and a statement game here by Fnatic. But it's not all over. I never ever want to think Diabolus out because this team multiple times have come back from 10k deficits. They are the masters of keeping you on the edge of your seat.
Absolutely, and they have a composition to do so. I mean, when that Vayne and Cho'Gath get stronger and stronger, eventually they're going to get to the point where it's a very hard team fight for Fnatic. Right now, though, it's all about damage control. I feel like Fnatic are going to apply the pressure and take these last outer towers, but it's all down to whether Diabolus can keep their base from being broken and keep those inhibitor towers up. I don't think they can, but they're going to put up their best effort.
Well, 27 minutes on the clock. That Call of the Forge God's going to come down. Dan is there, the teleports. They're throwing everything into this fight. Felix trying to close the gap. That's going to be one onto Curb. The tank is down. The Glacial Fissure comes out from Targamas. And it's just going to step away, doesn't actually want to fully commit.
Just a massive overstep. I said you need to defend your base. There's no reason to be pushed that far forwards, especially when you're against an Ornn who has so much engage potential. Yes, Kerberos is tanky, but he's also very slow and easy to hit. And now their base is going to get broken because of that loss.
Sorry, it goes down. Inhibitor might be next. Question is do Fnatic stay? Curb's not up for another 10 minutes. They're actually just realm warping the cannon underneath the tower. A 10,000 IQ play, but in comes the grand entrance. A massive knock-up. This might be the wombo combo. Diabolus, though, getting turned onto as X-Manny rips through Krogson. Gets rooted up for the Zhonya's will buy a little bit of time. Krogson finds the triple. He tries to go for the quadra kill. He's low, and he's not going to get it as X-Manny takes him out.
Felix was so low, but crucially, Kerberos is now here. Might has to respect it. He is one feast away from dying, and Diabolus find the miracle defense. That Frozen Thrall was so close to killing Felix, and he didn't actually Seraphs before it came in. He Seraphs after, so he very much could have died there. That was by the centimeters, but Diabolus, they show they have some life. They get a ton of gold and manage to defend their base, but still, they lost an inhibitor there. They're not out of the woods yet.
Every time this happens, it gets so close, and Diabolus finds some massive wombo. Unfortunately for them, it wasn't enough for them to, like, pull themselves back into this game. They are still down 10k to Fnatic. They've only been able to take one turret in the bot lane. Fnatic really not looking to give up any of this lead they've got, as they're going to look and try and get themselves the second Ocean Drake of the game.
So this is interesting that because a decision could be made here to delay the Ocean. And what that would do is mean that the Elder would spawn immediately. So now, because they've taken it then at 29 minutes, the next dragon's going to be a mountain. So it does mean they'll be able to get 3 dragons. But it means that they're going to be waiting for almost a 40-minute Elder. Which, when you're in the control of the game like Fnatic are now, I feel like that was maybe the wrong decision. Because it gives you an extra objective you can use to take down Diabolus. Because it just puts a very long timer on when you can have that available. But I guess they're just focusing on trying to get the game won now.
Steps forward. He was even silenced there onto Xmadi from the Feral Scream. Supers will be pushing up in the mid lane, and Fnatic continues to try and assert some pressure here in the bot lane. Baron comes up in 1 minute 40. If they can take an inhibitor here, it's such an easy contest. As you got Supers pushing up on the other side of the map. This is the call of the Forge God. Maybe just the zone. Croxton does get caught. They throw a little bit down. A good Feral Scream there by Curb. Will silence them. It gets the grand entrance. This might be the Diabolus Wombo. The flag, the drag, the Cataclysm is there. But Magic Felix is firing away on the backline. 2 kills, 3 kills picked up by Fnatic. And Shikari is low. But the turnaround is still hands. That's a triple kill done by Magic Felix. And it looks like Fnatic are just realm warping towards the end. Realm warping towards game 1 of this best of 5 versus Diabolus.
And the Dragons don't matter. They close the game out very cleanly. Completely in control, and already Fnatic have proved my predictions very wrong for this series.
Fnatic come up huge, 31 minutes on the clock, and they get themselves game 1 in the UKLC finals.
And that's a rough one to have as game 1 because Diabolus, it felt like everything went wrong. There were a couple of moments where they sort of found some team fights, but they were behind from the start. They felt further behind, and it just felt like it was Fnatic's game. They have to be so confident coming out from that game 1, but Diabolus, they need to go back to the drawing board and go, right, what went wrong? Because especially as they chose red side. That was their side selection. They chose to go on red side, assuming it would give them the advantage in the draft, and that's what makes it worse, is that seemed like a good draft for them, but they just couldn't execute, and I think maybe too much in the scaling bag. I think leaving the Braum Lucian to go over to Fnatic was a bit too risky because it felt like Targamas and Xmighty just took complete control of that game.
I feel like Diabolus looked at how Fnatic have been playing and go, okay, they just want to play for the late game. But recently, they've not been playing just for late game. They've worked on their early game, which was a problem at the beginning of the season, and you're seeing it come into fruition here. They picked it for early game, they played for early game, and they won early game, and Diabolus just got caught with their pants down.
Yeah, absolutely. And I said, you know, there was a win condition later on for Diabolus, but you have to keep the gold within a reasonable amount. And Fnatic just blew up in this game, and I feel like the shot calling was really crisp there. They knew exactly what they needed to do. The Baron control was very good. There was one maybe minor hiccup where Monkeys had a chance to steal, but for the most part, they were just completely in control of the game.
Okay, well, for the next game, Fnatic do get side selection. They've opted into blue side, so think side selection stays the same.
So the first game has to be selected in advance, but from then on, it's after the game you have to say what's your choice, and I think you've just absolutely crushed on blue side. If it ain't broke,
don't fix it.
And so, for no surprise, Fnatic going to stick to that blue side. And now, Diabolus have gone, right, we've just lost horrifically on red side. How are we going to change that? And at least they're going to be in the same situation, went, right, this is what they did when they were on blue side. We just need to adjust that. But hopefully, they can bring it around and make this into a series.
I mean, I'm excited to see what they're going to do coming into the next one. I think the Yorick ban will stick. You just can't let Curb get that. I wonder what Diabolus looked to change in the picks and bans, what they look to remove here.
I think leaving the Rise open was a bit naive against Magic Felix because he gives him a really strong option. He was such a presence because it felt like in those later team fights, you used to start to pop off, but the Rise just shut them down. And I think also giving them the Braum Lucian and then taking Vayne Rakan, which is a very weak lane, was a bit disrespectful.
All right, well, we're going to cut to a quick break. And when we're back, we'll be back with game 2 of this UKLC finals, so don't go anywhere.
Unfortunately, Jake Hiprain Matthews has got a bit of crab TSD, and he has to take a little bit of a break. He was a little bit overloaded from all the crab dancing this morning, as well as the people in Twitch chat who
I think he just went a bit too far with it. I think, you know, it was fun. We all had a lot of fun, but he really pushed the boat out with the moves, and I think he might have pulled something.
I think he might have pulled a muscle. Yeah, so I had to take over.
And I think that says to me that the key thing is you should always warm up before you do these things. I mean, me and Scandal were doing our warm-ups.
Actually, before we were going live, Dan did have the crab rave video up, and he was just practicing his moves like this, just in front of the phone. I was really impressed with his moves, but then you know, sometimes the plan just doesn't quite come together when you're live, and it didn't quite work out. So, you know, it's a learning experience. Maybe we don't bring a crab costume to the UKLC finals. I mean, it's swings and roundabouts. But what we can bring is giant inflatable microphones, which apparently are now all over our studio, and I don't know why.
Yep.
We also have giant inflatable everything. We've got saxophones, we've got guitars. There was going to be a skip. I don't know. We're probably going to avoid that now.
The thought process behind the UKLC is that you know, like when you put down a ton of ideas and some of them like, well, I didn't really want to do that, but I just, you know, I had the idea, it just popped in my head. We just say yes to everything.
We are the yes men.
Yeah, they're just like, hey, why don't you do this? You're like, you know, whatever.
Borja comes in and says, I think we should put a giant tomato over each of your fingers and then have you cast like that. And I just say yes.
Yeah,
I'm just like, yeah, Borja,
so if you have any suggestions, you can tweet at us, #UKLC, and you can say, yeah, I would like to see you do this or that, and we'll probably say yes.
Yeah, exactly. If you have a suggestion for us,
and it's within reason.
Yeah, within reason. Like, remember, the UKLC, we're trying to be a little bit more relaxed, a bit different, a bit chilled out. If you've got an idea for us that you want to see, and if you tweet me saying, why don't you talk about the picks and bans, I'm going to block you. So if you have an idea for the UKLC, please just, you know, send us an idea. We kind of just say yes to everything realistically.
Yeah. I mean, last game we were pretty focused on the picks and bans because it was a final, so
we will be focused on the picks and bans.
We'll do you that justice, don't worry about that. And obviously a lot of people are interested in the result of this game, but aside from that, we just love to mess about because it's a lot of fun, and I hope you enjoy it too.
Now remember, if you are watching the stream closely, you may at some point see our furry dog champ friend on the screen somewhere. There you go, down there. And if you see DogChamp at any point during the stream, make sure you tweet #UKLC. It will be in an opening video.
Yeah, once again, do not take a screenshot now, because you won't win anything.
Yeah, you won't win anything. Make sure it's in an opening video, and you guys can then potentially win the Bullet Angel Kaiser skin in purple chroma, I think.
Yep.
I think that's the one. So we're going to jump into the second game. Now, I was watching the sidelines. I actually wasn't supposed to be casting today, but I have, like I said, given old man Jake Hiprain Matthews a little bit of a rest. Hence why I'm not... I mean, I never really dress for the occasion anyway, but I'm definitely not dressed for the occasion right now. But you can see XL taking up... That's not XL. It's definitely not XL. It's Diablos taking on Fnatic.
Yep.
I just literally read it from the screen. I was like, yeah, that's not the case.
Those are the wrong teams. You know, it's just what we like to do at the UKLC. We keep you on your toes.
Keep you on your toes.
Yeah, so we'll
It's early in the morning. Everybody screws up early in the morning.
It's the same sides as before. And we've seen the same thing coming out from Fnatic with the bans. They banned Yorick, Vladimir, and Orianna. Diablos did ban this Silas, but it was their third ban, so they might have switched up the order a bit somewhat. We're probably just going to be a lot of comparing to last game as to how last game's draft went, because obviously Fnatic went pretty good because they stomped, and Diablos obviously probably weren't happy with our last game.
There we go.
We'll have to see what they've done to change.
10 out of 10 for effort.
Yeah, absolutely. So Silas, Olaf, this is exactly the same, just in a different order as the bans last time. Fnatic banned Orianna here. So we'll have to wait and see if they go for a similar thing.
And Fnatic had a very mid-game orientated composition last time around. Like, they needed a snowball. And something that we often don't see from these teams when they go up against the Vayne, for instance, this is something that always happened versus XMATI, is that people just couldn't snowball that mid-game effectively. Fnatic have shown us that they can snowball that mid-game effectively, even when faced with the prospect of a timer like a Vayne.
Which I think is a big change, because I felt like, to me, Fnatic were a very slow team at the start of the split, but they've definitely picked up their pace somewhat now. And Diablos will have that third ban, which is going to be Lucian. So they have adjusted their draft to a degree, banning away that Lucian, stopping that Lucian Braum lane, because, I mean, I think that was a big problem for me. Fnatic have been very adamant on first picking that Braum. They did it all yesterday.
Has played it incredibly well.
And I wouldn't surprise me if they did it again here, but that Lucian Braum lane is now off the table, and it makes sense because Matty had such a great performance on that. The Braum comes out, we're not surprised. Diablos, it now goes over to them. They picked Vayne Jarvan here. I think Jarvan works as a pick, whether they want to go for the Vayne. They're going to go straight for the Vayne again. They think the problem was the lane.
But they want the Vayne Jarvan.
Exactly the same as before. and now it will go over to Fnatic, who they went Rek'Sai Lucian. They can't go Lucian this time.
No, but they can still go Rek'Sai if they really want to. Dan, I think, had a really big impact on that particular champion that time.
I'm just going to say, he absolutely dumpstered Monkeys in the last game.
He did. He dumpstered. I think that was
Monkeys is someone I've complimented heavily throughout the split. He's been a really strong member of Diablos, but he just got absolutely murdered last game. So he'll take the Rek'Sai again, and understandably, he's been very confident on it. And now it comes down to, do they still want to take in that AD carry in this first rotation when Lucian's not up? Or do they want to change things up a bit? Because Lissandra is what Diablos took on red side on that third pick, but it is a big pick for MagiFelix as well, and so they take that off the cards. And now we're going over to Krogston. Krogston has played Cassiopeia to great success into Lissandra. I think you can also play Ryze into it, which Krogston's happy to play. We saw that same matchup last game. I would understand if they wanted to take that mid laner now and secure a good matchup for him. Corki is also the go-to counter for Lissandra,
because you can just Valkyrie away.
Just scales up hard to punish. But Krogston isn't too big on the Corki, and he's actually going for that Zillion. So this is something we did see from him yesterday. Wasn't super successful. They won, but there are times where it felt like it struggled a bit. And yeah, the win rate's 100%, so you've got to give credit to that.
Yeah, I think
it's all about facilitating your team.
Exactly, I think facilitating your team. You know, you before level 6, you're always going to be threatening Lissandra just because she's a short-range mage, and those bombs are always going to be a nuisance. Lissandra either just respects the bombs and lets you push, or you have to be aggressive with your jungler and go for a claw gank or go in post level 6 to get the ultimate off. But when you've got a Vayne, you as a Zillion, me and Jake talked about this a lot yesterday. Zillion's front-loaded damage onto Q. Once Q's down, you've got nothing really apart.
You need sustained DPS.
Yeah, exactly. And you've got the sustained DPS of the Vayne, so it works in that kind of
composition. And crucially, if you look at Fnatic's composition already, they have a ton of burst. And burst is very bad against Sicilian, because if you use the ultimate of Dan and MagiFelix on a single target and they just come back to life, you're essentially left in a really unfortunate position, because both those champions, once you ult in as Rek'Sai, once you use your ult as Lissandra, you're very vulnerable. Because, you know, those are your go-to, sort of all other offensive abilities, you use them to buy time as well. You can use your ult to ult yourself, you can use your ult to dive in, and now we'll see what else Diablos want to take. The Relia is something that we've seen banned against some other teams, not so much against Diablos.
I would assume you just take your support here, though, because you...
It would be the safer bet.
Yeah, you have the safer bet.
So it might just be a hover. In fact, it could, though, be a Zillion support.
Yes.
Is a big thing. It's not. It's definitely not. They confirmed that with it. So they're going for the same bot lane that Vayne and that Rakan, so confident they can get to the point where they scale well, and it does give some good engage to their composition. I do have to worry, though, it was a weak lane last time. They did fine holding up, but the mid-game pressure coming out...
Is that because of the Lucian, though? That's the question. Are you going to get a similarly paced AD carry that isn't Lucian? I can't really name many that have the similar kind of pace.
Varus is pretty good.
He's good.
Varus has a lot of attack speed and burst. It's not quite as good as Lucian, but level 6 is so much more threatening.
Sure.
And I think you can instantly see that there's summoner spells for use to switch to cleanse, and they know that the threat is the CC, because if you land an ult on either target, you follow up with the Braum passive and the Braum ult, they're dead.
Yeah, I think...
And it's so good for pressure at mid-game.
I think the one difference with the Lucian and Varus is that the Lucian can commit to trades without the use of his ultimate pre-level 6. He can dive in, piercing light, double attacks all over the place.
But the crucial thing is, nothing really happened in the lane pre-6.
So, that's true. I mean, you made a good observation there. So we are looking at post-6. It's going to be Shikari playing his Poppy in the top lane. And now Kerberos has got the choice. Now, you see a Poppy in the top lane in this composition. Do you want to add another frontliner, just go toe-to-toe with Poppy, or are you looking to have that classic Kerberos split push on the table?
I think you have a win condition in the composition. You just need to get late. I think take something like the Cho'Gath again.
I was literally going to say Cho'Gath. I think it's probably a good pick.
You can facilitate even more because you have great engage in the Rakan, which they had last game, sure. But now you have the Zillion. That extra speed for the Cho'Gath means he's so much more of a threat. And now you have an immobile AD carry in the Varus.
Yeah.
So Lucian, it's very easy to kite away from the Cho'Gath. It's hard on Varus. If he has Righteous Glory or flashes onto you, you just die.
I mean, he could just run at you and eat you, basically.
And I think you definitely don't want to put the Jarvan in top lane, because Poppy is picked often in Jarvan because her W does interrupt that combo from him. So kind of negates the effectiveness. I think I like the adjustments they've made. I think maybe it was a bit disrespectful that it took them to game 2 to realize the threat that Lucian Braum lane would be. But I still think Fnatic very much have a comp that is going to do strong in the early to mid game, and it comes down to, can they execute like they did last game, which was great, or do Diablos have a bit more life in them?
Does it depend what build we see from Matty as well? Because I've always felt with builds with Varus, you can either go more of the piercing route, which gives you a mid-game spike, or you go for more attack speed, which can allow you to scale a little bit better.
I would lean towards the attack speed build, because I think if you go piercing, I think you just do nothing to the Cho'Gath after mid-game.
Apparently, DogChamp was doing the overlays, and DogChamp is very sorry. Oh, it's so cute. Oh, she's so cute. Oh.
Can't stay mad.
I love how we actually have a get out clause for whenever production is like,
whenever there's a mistake, it's like,
whoopsie daisy,
it was DogChamp. Yeah.
Since DogChamp made the error.
I'm gonna do that whenever I say something wrong when I cast.
Yeah,
like,
it was DogChamp casting.
DogChamp.
I'm gonna say it was Jake casting.
DogChamp bit me.
I'm gonna say Jake was casting instead.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I think we sound similar, don't we?
Do you not see that thing with Fnatic where they tweeted out saying, I hate to say it, but Fnatic are smurfing, and Jake had said it, but then they added me instead. And obviously, because Fnatic's like a huge Twitter account, it got so many interactions, and Jake's just sitting there like...
I literally just processed that whole sentence about 2 seconds after you said it, and it tickled me.
Yeah,
as well as Jake just doing this through the glass.
I was very happy. I was happy to take it. And then I think they tweeted again. This time it was me, and they did at me. So I'm just like, yeah, thanks for the impressions, guys. Love you.
Well, they were smurfing in that last game particularly.
And, yeah, in that last game very much so. They were smurfing. And they have a good composition to do it again. They need that mid-game focus once more. And it's very much playing around those ultimates. They have great engage off the back of the Varus and Lissandra. You pick a target, it's very much a single target comp, which is why I think the Zillion's good against it. But if you catch them out at the wrong time, there's not much you can do.
Targamas coming in for Prosfair at the start of this series, and you can see what an impact it has had for Fnatic. Diabolus running with that same roster. They do need to shape things up. Yusa has had unbelievable games throughout this split as well. This is his time to step up to the plate, or can we see Fnatic take this to a potential 3-0? Well, let's get on to the Rift for this second game of the best of 5 series.
Yeah, should be a hypey one. And again, we're looking at Fnatic to have a strong early game into the mid game. A Zillion is pretty bad if he falls behind.
Yes.
Because people just die and you ult them again and they just die again. But crucially, if they manage to remain even or get ahead, Fnatic's comp is very single target based. Like you look at Magi, Felix and Dan, they very much want to ult one target.
Or that target's likely going to be Vayne.
Yeah, and then kill the Vayne. But a Vayne with cleanse and the Krogston ult, it makes it very difficult to do that. The reason the composition works, though, is if they get ahead, they don't even need 3 ults to take down a target. They can use 3 ults and take down 3 targets. And that's where the Zillion starts to lose effectiveness, because, again, you can only resurrect 1 champion.
All right, baby. Let's get into this game. Fnatic Diabolus. And I'm very much excited, because I do think Diabolus have made some adjustments, like you said, to this composition that makes it feel more viable as the game goes on as well. And I feel like they've taken what Fnatic have thrown at them and said, okay, we have answers here. But now it comes down to execution, and execution is critically what was lacking in the last game for Diabolus and what was really going well for Fnatic as well.
Yeah, and one of the big advantages here is that last game we saw Ryze against Lissandra, a very sort of equally ranged matchup, but Zillion has a pretty big range advantage against Lissandra, so Krogston should be pretty comfortable there.
Also, Kerberos did pretty well into Shikari last game, and actually something over the course of this split that I really want to kind of praise Kerberos for is that he's got better as a player, I think. Kerberos has constantly improved as a player over the course of this split. I think sometimes during the Forge of Champions, there was a lot of questions asked about Kerberos and how he played. I think throughout the UKLC, he's been consistently pretty good, and I like to see that.
Other than that game where he got solo killed 3 times by Ego Speed, but ignoring that, he has definitely got better and been pretty solid. You've seen the lane advantage coming in to that Braum and that Varus, which is pretty expected.
You do kind of give up the lane when you play Rakan a little bit.
Yeah, and especially into Braum Varus, just has so much pushing power. I mean, Vayne Rakan, you do not pick for the level 1, the level 2.
How is Dan doing this every time? He's just double...
Last game, he only got 1.
Okay, well, from what I saw yesterday, he was like double river scuttling every single game.
Yeah,
and he just never got punished for it.
Just confident, and the other team... Well, I think a big thing here is a wave priority. When your bot lane is shoved in, you essentially get that bot lane scuttle for free.
Sure, yeah.
And I think he takes the top one as a relatively risky one, but then the bottom one is just essentially his bot lane provided it to him for free. And now, using that pressure, Targamas can walk up. That was a bold all-in.
I mean, it was a very slow. I mean, you would have had to really struggle to flash that one if you were Krogston.
Yeah, I feel like, I'm not even sure if he needed a flash. Like, I don't think the claw would have killed him. It does only have 1 point in it. I think it was a bit of a panic flash, but I think it was also quite over-aggressive for Magi Felix. Because bear in mind, this is then aftershock Lissandra, so there's no like potential of a Comet or an Aerie coming in. So I don't think the claw would have been enough to kill him, but Krogson, respecting his opponent, does end up trading the flashes.
And they both teleport back to lane as well.
Christy, Monkus is waiting here.
Monkus is waiting for MagiFelix. I don't think MagiFelix knows, and he's going to get locked up by the bombs.
Flash.
Have they got enough? No, they don't, because it's Zilean at level 4.
I mean, it's not even that, it's just the Aftershock. Aftershock does so much to negate that burst. As soon as he roots, it felt like he shook off all of the burst damage from Krogson. So they get a favorable trade, and this is unfortunate for MagiFelix because he just TP'd back in, only to get chunked out. But at the end of the day, you wanted to get a kill from that gank.
I actually saw in the early phases of the lane, Krogson taking some poor trades versus MagiFelix as well. MagiFelix utilizing the shards beyond the minions to get a bit of trade damage in. Also not afraid to go aggressive and search for those fights once those bombs had missed. And that's one of the caveats of Zilean in the lane. If you miss the bombs, you are like a sitting duck. And all you can do is trade back with auto attacks. So
yeah.
if Lissandra wants to move in and spam some Qs, you can't really do much about it.
He is in a really good position now, though, because MagiFelix is back at full HP, but used all 3 corrupting stacks for that, while Krogson still has all three of his. Monkus, I mean, the instant you see Matty and Targamas move back like that, you know that there's a ward in that brush.
Dan here on the top side of the map, Kerberos not quite moving back as of yet. He's actually going to wait for everything and then start to flash afterwards, although Dan is going to commit. In goes Shikari and picks up first blood.
Just overstep. You knew there's a big wave coming in. There's no reason to try and meet it. You could have just let it push in.
Yeah.
And as a result, Kerberos just get punished. And there's now a massive CS advantage between the top laners. And this is on a matchup that you really shouldn't be winning out this hard. So Kerberos, just as we were complimenting him, Mr. Caster Curse has started to fall behind a bit, but in return, Davos will pick up this Cloud Dragon. They got a ton last game, didn't exactly pay off, and with the first being a Cloud, and we'll actually see a replay with Shikari's
little
face there.
Shikari heart sticker.
So here, Kerberos, he doesn't want to flash instantly because the flash will just follow, but he ends up getting knocked back, and now he's so low in HP that there's not really great amount of options there, and the thing is, because he was so far away from his turret, this massive wave gets shoved in against him, and there's now a pretty hefty CS difference in the top lane. Even after TPing back up, he's still down 13.
Yeah, and you can see Shikari's still got his teleport available. Luckily, Dragon did just go down, so there isn't that many reasons for Kerberos to want to teleport to the other side of the map right now, so he probably feels pretty safe having burnt that.
It does mean, though, that Monkus' effectiveness is limited on the other side of the map, because you go for a play bot lane, and it's liable for Shikari to TP
teleport,
in.
yeah. And unless Kerberos can match that and stop it with the Q, but...
Well, that's one thing, is if you're in range as Kerberos, you can definitely stop that teleport from coming through, but you have to be able to, and it means you're constantly overextending as the Cho'Gath just to ensure you're in range to stop the TP, which you don't really want to do when you're a Cho'Gath without a flash. And Dan and Monk is actually going to find each other here.
Yeah, Dan looks like he wants to go aggressive into Monk' jungle. Monk has actually caught him, and you can see Yusa and Hado are now rotating up. Whoa, Monk is taken so low and did almost no damage back. Dan's going to get locked up here. Really great condemn coming up from Yusa, actually forcing Dan away. MagiFelix is joining the party. Targamas jumps over, gets the ignite. That's a big move, and that is the teleport that you talked about as Targamas moves in. Shikari trying to chase up Yusa, but it is a teleport for a blue buff and a kill onto Dan. Krog's unable to escape.
I just don't understand the reasoning there. Monk seems like he went in with his combo on Dan. You don't win that. And then they try and go aggressive on Dan, but crucially the CC was overlapped very badly. Hado's knockup came in at the same time as the condemn. And so as a result, Dan is actually able to get out. And then, like we talked about, the TP results in Fnatic having the advantage. Although I will say, Kerberos did manage to catch up in CS on the back of that.
Yeah, he did, and he got a turret plating as well. So he's picked up a bit of extra gold. So swings and roundabouts, Fnatic have got themselves a decent gold lead to work with, but look at the CS difference between Yusa and Matty right now. What has gone on in this lane, Dan?
He's just applied a lot more pressure, and it felt like Yusa having to move to try and defend his jungler really didn't help, but I just feel like picking Vayne Rakan is so disrespectful. It's such a weak lane. You know, Rakan doesn't have the base stats to really hold up against going in on a Braum. Yes, he's great late and his engage is insane, but I just feel like you're picking a lane that is just purely scaling, and then you're surprised when you fall behind if Fnatic take over the mid game.
Yeah, and a lot of that gold difference between the two teams probably is coming directly from that CS difference between Matty and Yusa. I'd love to see how sort of different their gold values are right now. But yeah, it's same old story for Fnatic. They are just currently dominating Diabolus, and Diabolus are just, again, waiting for late.
Yeah, absolutely, and they still have that win condition, which is late game, but it's not looking good so far. Once again, Fnatic have the control. And now Yusa getting zoned off again here. Really has to respect the threat. Now this Varus is level 6 and there's no cleanse available on Yusa. The ult is such an easy engage. You can see how Yusa's playing. He's permanently trying to tumble back. So if that ult does come out, he's reacted to it. But it's not a fun position to be in. And now Dan has actually found Monkeys. Won't be able to get on top of him, but Monkeys has to be really careful with MagiFelix moving over.
And Krogson's pretty concerned about his own lane right now as well. Just wants to get that farm.
I think they might just look for a dive here.
I mean, they could do. Everyone knows it's happening, though. Maybe it's just they just want to ward them off that turret to get some plating off. That seems to be the case as Matty and Targos pick up a bit of extra plating with MagiFelix and Dan on the sidelines here. Again, that's now almost 40 CS difference between the two AD carries. Pretty huge. Yeah,
just a massive advantage here, and they keep pushing it up. And they're so scared of Matty. This ult from the Varus is a death sentence for either Yusa or Hado. And so as a result, you can see they're constantly trying to play in a way that's hard to predict and hard to hit. But as a result, all Matty has to do is just throw auto attacks at them, and they don't even try and hit him back. So completely dominant in this lane. And again, Fnatic, they know the win condition, they're playing to it so far.
I mean, I think almost both games have had huge wins through the bottom side of the map here for Fnatic, and that's not something that we're used to saying with the likes of MagiFelix and Shikari on the roster, but xMatty has been a monster in this final so far. And Targamas seems to be the right addition for Fnatic to give them a more dominant bot lane phase.
Yeah, their laning phase has been really solid in the game 1 and 2, and they've been first picking that Braum, and it seems like it was a good reason because they just have complete control of that lane. But I have to question that Diabolus' drafting and why they decided to go for this Vayne Rakan again and again. I mean, maybe it'll be different this game. They might be able to close it out by getting an advantage later on, but so far it looks like a repeat of game 1, and banning away the Lucian just wasn't enough to change things.
No, and I think when you're running with a Vayne win condition, you have to be damn sure that you're going to have a good laning phase. You can see Shikari trying to knock him away. Doesn't quite land.
Well, at least not lose the game of the laning phase, which has been the situation so far.
They do get themselves the Rift Herald, though, which is a pretty nice pickup. They're going to allow that to be used probably top lane immediately with the wave pushing in. Yeah,
but in return, they do lose first tower and a ton of plating to xMatty. But, I mean, in this situation, it's best off just to trade because you're not going to win by... You're not going to make... you're not going to win if you keep your bot lane bot. So they will go for the trade. And this just means so much gold over to xMatty.
610 gold for xMatty right there.
He's going to have a finished Blade of the King by the time he gets back. And Diabolus, they get some plates in the top lane, but nothing on top of that. Remember, that tower had already lost a plate before the start of that Rift Herald, so not a massive win. Matty's going to recall now, should have his Blade of the King, may even have more, but he is in a great position to carry this game.
Yep, and he is, again, like we said, the 40 CS difference between the two AD carries. I think if we go into game 3...
Oh, that is a big gold difference.
Yes, that is 1,700 gold between Matty and Yusa. That makes up almost half of the entire gold difference.
That's more than 100 gold a minute difference.
It's crazy. Yeah, I think you're right. I think they need to have Hado on something that isn't Rakan. They need to stop thinking that they can play for late versus Fnatic.
If you want to go Vayne, that's fine, but don't go Rakan as well. If you want to go Rakan, that's fine, but don't go Vayne as well. I feel like it's just really disrespectful. And Fnatic, I mean, this is the difference as well, is that we talked about how that Cho'Gath would be a massive presence in the last game. Against Varus, with the Blade of the King Ginsu's build, he's going to go down a lot quicker.
He's going to get shredded, yeah.
I mean, the Lucian never really had issues with it because they won so hard in the mid game. But even if it gets to late, Mighty can pretty handily cut through that Cho'Gath.
Again,
dragon, but it's Diabolus again, the dragons, but it shows Fnatic really don't care about these minor dragons, the oceans, the clouds, even the mountains at times. They know the priority is this gold lead. And they're already 3,500 ahead, and they're looking to extend it more. And Matty, once again, getting this solo gold.
I mean, he's
solo
got
plating.
Almost 2 towers worth of plating for himself. He's going to be nearly at a tier 2 item before Yusa looks like finishing his first.
Yeah, it is not a good situation to be in. And that's the thing, is that the 2-item spike for these Blade of the King Ginsu's builders is so huge. It makes such a massive difference. And Mighty is going to hit his so much sooner than Yusa. Yusa's just not going to be able to trade any auto attacks with him.
That's so ridiculous. That is another 500 gold going over to Matty, who is now a 50 CS advantage over Yusa. And that really is the story of this game, because everything else has been pretty calm. Everything has been almost uneventful across the rest of the map, and it's all been about this dominance from Matty and Targamas, who have then rotated between lanes, and Matty has funneled gold onto himself. I mean, this has almost been like a full funneling strategy that's gone straight onto this Varus.
Yeah, and it's just, again, I have to go back to the draft. I think it's disrespectful, and Dallas, once again, they're playing the waiting game where they have to wait till the point where they can take fights, because right now, Yusa, look at Matty's items. Yusa's not even finished his Blade King, doesn't even have the recurve bow, and Matty is really getting close to having that Ginsu's done already.
Like I said, it's likely that he's going to finish Ginsu's at the same time that Yusa finishes Blade of the Ring.
The thing is for Daedalus is that you have the Zilean, who's not going to be a big damage output. You need someone to be doing damage to justify ulting. If you're ulting Hado, it's not going to make any difference to the team fight. You have to have a very strong Vayne who you ult and who comes back and then wins you the team fight, rather than a Vayne who just insta-dies, you ult them, and then Yusa just insta-dies again.
And most importantly, Matty's going to have that Ginsu's the spawn of Baron. So if Fnatic want to do something that's going to force the hand of Diabolus, they have Baron up. And that'll be a really big turning point where this game will start to spiral out of control. I mean, we're already now at a 4,500 gold lead in favor of Fnatic, and really Fnatic have done very little apart from just play the map.
Yeah, absolutely. They just had complete control. It's been good pressure coming out from them, and they just know exactly how to work the map to get those gold leads. Now, Daedalus look like he might be trying to get some control in the Baron area, but Yusa's currently 1v2 in the bot lane, and the pings are coming out. I think Fnatic are just going to push down for this tier 2 tower, and right now there's no one really to contest it.
You don't have any kind of presence coming from your mid laner in terms of damage output in these mid-game skirmishes. You have a Vayne who hasn't even finished her first item. You've got a one-item Jarvan who's gone for the Cinderhog instead of the Warriors. He's not even going to deal damage himself. They are putting all the eggs in the Yusa basket, and the lane has gone horrifically.
I mean, the big thing as well is the level basket. Particularly these carries who have that on-hit damage. You get so many points in. Oh, we actually see it in all lane.
That's going to be Kroxin going down. Has popped his ultimate. That's going to be a big engagement from Monkeys, though, but I don't know if the damage is going to be there for Diabolus right now. Yusa pops his ultimate. The flashes come through. Matty's the target. Yusa does not get the kill onto Matty, and Matty is still going. A big root from Magi Felix as they follow up, and this has been diabolical for Diabolus. They are absolutely swept aside. And that is exactly how we predicted this would go.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You die on the Zilean, you come back and you just die again, and there's really no presence from Daedalus, no team fight. Yusa went for the hero play on a Mighty, but Magi Felix and Shikari quickly shut him down. Crucially, the Cataclysm was his downfall because Shikari headbutted him into it and got that stun. But it's just not looking good, and now a lot of items, a lot of gold going to be coming through for the side of Fnatic. Luden's finished, and we will see a replay of that. So Kroxin gets ulted at the start, does manage to get the ult off, but that means that Zilean ult is off the tables, so that champion's very limited usefulness. They go very aggressive onto Matty, who flashes away, but now Yusa, he's like, we need to find this kill, I need to go in, but Shikari knocks him into the Cataclysm.
That was so big from Shikari right there.
Yeah, but it was great for Magi Felix as well. Instantly just shut down the threat on a Matty, and Matty got low, but even if they killed him, there's no way they win that team fight. No, but the fact he survived as well, he doesn't get shut down. And now look at his items. He has that blade, has that Ginsu's, and a stopwatch. That same play again is going to go even worse.
That was so big from Shikari as well, even though it really wouldn't have made a difference to the overall team fight. Just to have that presence of mind to say, damn, okay, I've got an opportunity to flash in and save the fight here. You always talk about Shikari being a bit of a clutch player in sort of big situations. And remember, this means a lot for Fnatic to come out on top here. Not only does it mean European Masters group stage, immediately they get that place, but also Shikari would be the 4-time back-to-back UK champion.
Yeah, which is pretty crazy to think about.
If you're looking at a hot property in the top lane that wants to win you tournaments, Shikari's probably the hottest in the market right now.
It just really raises the question is there any point in us even having a competition if Shikari's just going to win it every time?
Exactly.
Should we just give the trophy to whoever signs Shikari at the start of the split?
I think that's what we're going to have to do.
Well, we'll see. Daedalus still have a hope, but right now, 7k goal behind. It really is a thin hope. And right now, Yusa's actually getting engaged on.
Yusa's dead. Dan picks that up so easily. I just think Yusa is in a rough position right now. Not much that they can do about it. It looked like the rest of Diabolus was playing the Matty hunting party. They were going off on a top lane roam to try and catch Matty under his turret, but they didn't get it because the warding from Fnatic around the Baron pit is so good, and the warding from Diabolus. Do you know when you look at warding patterns? I sometimes like to call them happy and sad warding patterns. That's a sad warding pattern from Diabolus. That's like super defensive in their own jungle, nothing in the river area, and it's just a sad, sad warding pattern.
Yeah, and it just feels like Fnatic once again have complete control. The vision is a crucial thing because it's so hard to make plays without vision. And that's why Diabolus constantly feel like they're on the back foot, because they look for these plays, but then they're concerned that, wait, what if someone's there? What if we just lose the whole game with this? What if we lose the Baron? And so they just end up backing off, and Proxton gets knocked up.
He's getting knocked up, doesn't actually get the ultimate off, but just as you said, he's going to die immediately. A brilliant knockup from Targamas there, and now Monkeys is going to be locked under turret. Matty's still going, absolutely no one to stop him, and Hado escapes with just a sliver of HP.
Ults himself, comes back, dies again. It just shows how bad Zilean is when he falls behind. This champion is oppressive when ahead, but when there's no one useful for you to ult, it just feels pointless. You're just buying time, but for what?
And there we go. Kerberos caught under tower. This is just all over the place for Diabolus right now. Fnatic it looks like they're playing with their food. I mean, 2 turrets off the back of a very staggered engage, and now Yusa locked up once more. He's only just respawned. Come on, Fnatic, have a heart as they push down this inhibitor turret. They're going to get another one off the back of this, and Diabolus, just like we said in a previous game, lemmings walking off a cliff.
They just gotten absolutely destroyed. There's no other way to say it. This has been Fnatic showing the potential people expected from them at the start of the split, and it looks like gearing up for playoffs is not unique to the LEC team.
Nope.
Fnatic have geared up to a major degree.
And Matty must have so much gold again to just go back. I mean, I'm expecting just an instant GA buy or an instant an item buy. As I don't even see things like this season.
I think you can go like a Phantom Dancer and get that extra defensive. He's going for the BF, so we'll go towards that GA, you would think.
Yeah, you would think the GA, or maybe he's even working towards something more... I don't know, maybe even an Infinity Edge or a BF sword. It'd be interesting if that's the case.
Usually I'd go for the Z-Light and before the Infinity Edge.
Yeah.
At this point, if you take the GA, you really negate any chance of killing you. And you're essentially doing what Zilean does, except better, because Matty's actually valuable, unlike Yusa, who's just worthless at this point.
I think Yusa and Hado need to take the fight to Matty and Targamas in the next game, because they gave up the lane with the draft, just like you said. I mean, the Vayne Rakan lane, it's great for when you want to be defensive.
Oh, Hado.
Goodbye, Hado. He's dead. That's another, maybe an overcommit of CC coming out from
I mean,
Fnatic.
They just wanted to make sure the job was done. They know how mobile Hado is, and still had his flash, but they take him down, and the thing is, there's nothing Diabolus can do. They can't go right. They don't have these ults. We can now fight them.
Because they just lose the straight
Fnatic are still going to win.
Anyway.
They're 11k gold up, and they'll start the Baron up. I think Diabolus might look for this steal, but...
It's crazy that some of the most one-sided games that we're seeing are coming from the final. These are some of the most one-sided games we've seen all season. And it looks like they're going to engage onto Kerberos. He gets locked up, but this is not the story of the fight. This is the story of Diabolus just slowly being churned out of the UKLC, even with some locked up frontliners. Yusa can do no damage, as Kerberos now going to get locked up by Magi Felix. I think Magi Felix actually in trouble, though, as now Diabolus have caught them split. Then Magi jumps over the wall, and this is the man that you need to worry about. He has got so much damage, forced to be condemned away by Yusa, as the rest of Diabolus run with their tails between their legs, as the Wolf Matty charges them down.
I'm going to say that was actually a really good fight for Diabolus, considering how bad it could have gone.
Yeah.
Like, that could have been a clean ace and a Baron, and they managed to string something together. Considering they're 13-0, that could have been a lot worse. So, Diabolus survive for now. They will force Fnatic to recall without taking the Baron. So, that's a win in my book. Considering how dire this game is, you have to take the small victories.
You take the small victories, absolutely. And I think in a situation where you could have probably lost the game from that point, to come out with the game still intact is always going to be a bonus. But you're still looking at an 11k gold lead for Fnatic. You're still looking at Baron, which is going to be immediately threatened again once more. You're going to have to go and find that fight again.
Yeah, and the crucial thing is a lot of flashes were burnt on the side of Diabolus. That CC is still there. And remember, they took that fight without the Bar Assault, without the Lissandra ult. They now have those available. They're going to start the Baron up, and Diabolus, they want to be able to contest, but it's going to be hard pressed to. Remember, no flash now on Cho'Gath, so no chance of him looking for a steal. Monkeys wants to go for it. The ball comes in.
Oh, they're on to Haddo now. They're going to back him off. They're going to go for another big engage with the rest of Fnatic, maybe backing off towards the Baron once more. Monkeys is the Baron King Stealer. Baron Steel Kinger. I don't know one of the words. He's trying to go for it. Jumps over onto Magifelix, but the lockup is already there. They're not going to let Monkeys get anywhere near that pit as he's looking for a flash. Locked up
down
by Shikari. Yusa is down. Dan now chasing Kerberos through. And this is just mopping duty for Fnatic as they get both the Baron and they get the entire Diabolus roster to boot. Kerberos last on the menu. Doesn't taste great, but it tastes a victory.
Now, in that last fight, when I said things could have gone a lot worse, that's what I was talking about. That is a lot worse. So, Fnatic get a full ace, full clean ace. They get the Baron, and now they're going to start pushing down, knocking on the doors of Diabolus. I just don't think there's much that Diabolus are going to be able to do.
I think they are just way too far behind at this point. And Diabolus, welcome to the 7th layer of hell. Usually you'd think the Devils would be accustomed to it, but the 2-0 Fnatic in this best of 5 as they push down these Nexus turrets. Maybe a bit presumptuous, but we can all see that Fnatic have got this game well in the bag. They're pushing through this final fight. Diabolus can do nothing. Matty cleans up as well as Magifelix, and this is going to be the game going over to Fnatic.
Yeah, just completely dominant performance. I mean, 1 kill came in for Diabolus on the end of that onto Targamas. But other than that and a couple of dragons, it was almost a perfect game.
Yeah, that was really good.
That's worse than game 1.
Let's hope Diabolus can find some sort of turnaround now because they have got 3 games on the trot to win here.
Yeah, well, let's play devil's advocate. Crucially, they do get side selection here. I think they've established that they haven't won on red side. So maybe change to blue. Maybe they have a strategy for that. Well, they must have had a strategy coming in. Maybe that's going to work out better. I think pick something for your bot lane that doesn't just AFK for so long. I mean, in that first game, they could have taken a Lucian for Yusa. He's played it consistently. He's had really solid performances on it. And they just went, you know what? You guys can have Lucian Braum. We'll take Vayne Rakan.
Even if Fnatic had taken Lucian, you can give Haddo Braum, who is a really solid Braum player.
I'm questioning the decision-making coming out in terms of drafting. But even then, I mean, it's not just down a draft. I feel like Fnatic have played really well. Dan's had complete control, and Monkey's just seen off form this whole series.
Got to ban Rek'Sai, do you think, if you can't match that kind of level of aggression in the early game?
If you ban Rek'Sai, you leave Olaf open. If you ban them both, then you're just leaving so many things open.
So where do you think Monkey's defaults? Gets off Jarvan and goes something else?
Yeah, I think the Jarvan into Rek'Sai matchup, he's not been able to play it. It feels like whenever Dan gets close to him, he just murders him. But just on top of that, I feel like, I don't know. I mean, maybe play him on something that's a bit more defensive.
Sejuani, get him on the Sejuani again.
Yeah, maybe that. Or ideally, he takes something like the Rek'Sai, so he actually brings the strong matchup. Because on the Jarvan, it feels like they pick it for the flex. 2 times in a row, they haven't flexed it. So Fnatic are like, well, okay, if you're going to keep sticking it in the jungle, we'll just pick Rek'Sai. And it's like a flex is pointless if the other team don't think you're going to flex it.
Yeah.
If they don't think there's any chance of it, then you've essentially just locked yourself into that pick, and no one's worried about it. So I feel like they went with pretty much the same composition. There was a couple of changes. Well, no, there was 1 change, which was a mid laner. And then they just went, oh, wow, it didn't work again. And I'm like,
I think we liked the theory behind the Diabolus composition, but it reeked of the same issues. And Zilean actually made those issues worse, in my opinion.
At least Lissandra could do something.
Yeah, well, yeah, at least Lissandra could do something, or at least even Ryze can do something as well, you know. But Zilean, he does nothing, and all he's there is to facilitate Yusa. So if you're picking a losing bot lane, and categorically Matty and Targamas have shown that they stomped that bot lane.
What? Just don't pick Vayne Rakan.
Yeah.
Pick something you could do something on. Because, I mean, I've seen times where they'll be like, okay, let's take Lucian Alistar, let's go ham, let's be aggressive. And it feels like, I don't know if maybe last night they were watching some Targamas Matty montages and they just got completely intimidated, but it feels like they're just so scared of them. Just pick something that you can actually win lane.
All right, let's calm down a bit as we go to a very short interlude, and we'll be back with this best of 5 between Fnatic and Diabolus.
everything changes.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the UK League Championship. My name is JK Praying Matthews. I'm subbing out, but we're still joined by Dan Ox Harrison in our third game of this best of 5 between Fnatic, Rising, and Diabolus. And Fnatic, one game away from taking this whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, they've just been dominating so far. I mean, we've seen reverse sweeps before.
We have.
We've seen it get very close. So I'm hoping that Diabolus will have a series to bring. I think I've given a lot of criticisms to the draft. I think if they change that up, we've known this team to have life. We just need to see them bounce back because right now, Fnatic are crushing. And at least that's good omen for them going into EU Masters because I think they'll put up a good fight there. But I want a series here and now.
I actually want to get confirmation on what side the teams are on because Diabolus did have side selection in this game. Fnatic have had blue side in the first 2 games. Maybe Diabolus go, okay, we want red side, but let's try and force that off from Fnatic because blue side they've been looking so potent.
Well, you haven't won on red side twice in a row. I think if it is broken, try and fix it. So just change it, see if it makes it better. Maybe, maybe not. But right now, it just feels like, well, you know, they definitely can't win on red side.
Yeah.
Yet. So but they just need one game to get going, to get some momentum back, and you can easily turn a series round. But right now, it feels like completely in Fnatic's control.
Okay, so Diabolus are on blue side and Fnatic is on the red side. So
they did as we guessed.
Being denied.
Yeah, they chose to switch it, which makes a lot of sense.
Okay, well, hopefully once we get into picks and bans, we see what the adaptation is here for Diabolus. Now that they're on this blue side, what are they looking to take away? What are the bans?
Don't pick Vayne Rakan bot lane.
Yeah.
Pick something that's strong for your bot lane and that can do some damage on. don't just pick Jarvan, because that's all they've done, and the Rek'Sai is a great matchup into it.
Well, we're going to pick some bans for our third game of this series.
Maybe ban away
Dabless need to make this one count, otherwise they are done, and they have got themselves second place here.
They have brought in Prosper into the support role,
Ooh.
so made a little change there. I think that makes sense. Prosper has been with them for the whole season. You're 2-0 up.
Yeah, it would be a little bit.
It's a bit disrespectful to bring him in.
I was talking, though, backstage to people and going, I don't know if you do bring Prosper in. They've had 2 really dominant games with Targaryen. And you could argue he's definitely not been... Well, I mean, he's not been bad, but he's not been the sole reason they've won their games. But he's been confident in the games. He's looked comfortable with the team. It's been a good start for them. But they do opt to bring in Prosper, the player they've been playing the whole season with.
I respect the decision, because I feel like it would be pretty harsh on Prosper not to bring him after he's fought for the whole season. Targamas has done great, but Prosper's now had a chance to sit out and go, right, what have they done here? What do they struggle with? And it may have even been a strategy where they wanted Targamas on red side and Targamas on blue side, Prosper on red side. Probably not at all.
I mean, it could be a chance.
But it could be. Right now, very quickly through bans, Fnatic going the same bans as they had on blue side and red side.
Yeah.
Quite a change up from Dabless. They're banning the Vayne away themselves, so thankfully we won't see Vayne Rakan again. Lissandra and Silas down. Lucian's still available, Braum's still available, Jarvan's still available. They're going to go potentially with some kind of Fnatic who can go for that first pick Braum. So I like it. They've changed things up.
They finally changed things up. I do want to note that the Silas was banned away from red side, from Diabolus.
It was
on the blue side.
Yeah, they banned it on red side every time.
But they normally, typically we see it as a red side ban.
They banned it on red side every game so far.
That's what I'm saying. But now they're banning it on blue side. So maybe it's showing that Krogston doesn't actually play this champion. And what you normally see as a red side ban, they're having to ban because they don't want Fnatic to get their hands on it.
And Fnatic do what I feel Diabolus should have done game 1. They pick the Lucian so you don't get the Lucian Braum. It makes a lot of sense. So they're going to have to go for something else. But it does deny that total strong bot lane. And now it goes over to what else they want to pick. Do they want to prioritize someone for Magic Felix? I think a jungler for Dan would be pretty good as well. But
I really, really want to see the Rek'Sai from Dan. Dan has looked so good on that champion.
I don't like it this early. I think you can save it for third pick.
Yeah,
support makes a lot of sense. You know what is coming from the Braum. Rakan with a Lucian, that's a much better lane than with the Vayne.
Yes.
You know, it's a lot safer.
And it's not into a Lucian Braum, which is even more useful. But let's see what Dabless decide to pick up here. They've got their hands on the Braum now. Now they're looking towards probably an AD carry of their own and either a jungler maybe.
I like the
Expecting
Kai'Sa. I like the Kai'Sa. It's one that Yus has constantly gone back to. Has better trading power in the lane, but also scales fairly well. And that two item spike's going to be big.
Nice, kind of a fairly nice synergy with the Braum as well, because you both have multiple things stacking up at once, and suddenly, bam, a big chunk of your health bar's gone, and you're stunned.
Now it comes down to, I think it's likely Diabolus go for the jungler. I don't want to see the Jarvan again, but looks like they're going to go for it again. And the thing is, if you're not threatening to flex it, I'm not too scared. And now I expect Fnatic just to go for that Rek'Sai once again. There's no reason not to. You've seen that the Jarvan's come out. You've seen that consistently you've won out against the Jarvan on the back of the Rek'Sai. So there's a potential they pick a mid laner for Magic Felix and then ban away counters. But, you know, if it ain't broke,
why fix it? Let's go. So, Fnatic lock themselves in the Rek'Sai as their last jungle pick here. Now we're into ban phase 2. This is where it gets exciting. We're probably going to see a little bit of focus towards those mid laners, maybe the top laners. Neither's locked in at this point. The question for me is, who gets counterpick? Is it going to be Shikari? Is it going to be Magic Felix? Typically, when on red side, Fnatic gives Shikari the counterpick. Yeah,
but I think it depends on what's available. I think Diabolus are going to ban Corki Kennen. That seems very obvious to be their rotations. Right now, Fnatic have so far targeted that Cassiopeia away from Krogston, and then the Kayle as well, so no potential for Kerberos to bring that. I expect the Kennen here, absolutely, without a doubt. And then it comes down to, do they want to go for a blind top lane, or do they want to go for that counterpick for Magic, and go for that counterpick for Magic Felix? Or is it the other way around? And it feels like Kerberos hasn't really offered too much with his picks this game, so maybe it's just Cho'Gath, so maybe you can pick something safe for Shikari. He seems unfazed, whatever he plays. It seems like he can just play whatever and he's fine in any matchup, so I'd be okay with blinding here, but it depends. Is there something powerful you want to give Magic Felix? Is there something you think he can carry on? And to be honest, looking at what's been banned away, which is the Corki and the Sandra and the Silas, I don't think there's a ton I really credit to him, but then that makes me forget about the Zoe, so this is often banned away from Magic Felix, although we haven't seen him play it. Very low win rate, but I think that's deceiving.
Yeah, that is very, I was about to say, it's very deceiving, actually. A lot of the Zoes we've had have been crushing here, but kind of been let down from the sides. This Fnatic team do not look like they've been let down from the side lanes at all in any of these games. They've been, every lane has been firing on all cylinders. They've been playing up like a well-oiled machine. Now they're bringing Prosper back in, who's been playing with them for the whole season. You expect them to be running as efficiently as possible, but we're going to see Croxon get his hands on the Syndra.
Syndra's a good matchup in the Zoe, makes a lot of sense, and now it comes over to their final pick. I feel like you can just put the Jarvan top and take something good for Monkeys, because if you take Jarvan and the Rek'Sai again, I think I'm just going to scream. It's not been working. Dan has been dominating that matchup. If you pick it 3 times in a row and it didn't work the first 2 times, it's not going to work again. And they instead go for the Scion, which I like it a bit better than the Cho'Gath right now because it has a bit more engage potential, especially under something like a Zoe that you can pin down. But once again, we have Jarvan into Rek'Sai, which Monkeys has lost 3 games in a row.
2 games.
2 games in a row. Well,
unless you're making predictions. Unless you're making predictions here.
I mean,
let's see what Fnatic round their comp out with here. What does Shikari decide to go for?
Cho'Gath is a great pick here because he's very good at dealing with the Scion. You can interrupt it, but instead going to opt towards that Poppy. Good for interrupting the combo from the Jarvan.
And also stops Yusa from sliding into the backline as well with the killer instincts and just looking to assassinate someone like Matty or Magic
You have
Felix.
to pick your window because if you try and fly across, you can just hit the wall and just get stopped. So Poppy is a confident pick for Shikari. And, you know, a bit more for a balanced team comp on either side. It feels like before we had very much scaling from Diablo, so I do like that they have brought a bit more into the early game. Yeah. It does feel like they're going to offer some more fight early, but it's one thing to draft it, it's another thing to play it. And they have to deliver, because this is the last game for them if they lose.
It really is do or die. I say this is my kind of trigger phase at the moment, do or die, but for Diabolus, if they lose this game here, they are 2nd in the UKLC, and they were so close. They're not done yet, though. They need to find a reverse sweep versus Fnatic Rising. This is Fnatic Rising in possibly the best form we've seen them all tournament long.
Yeah, absolutely. They've just gone from strength to strength, and now they look very dominating. But even Titans can bleed, and I think Diabolus, they've shown before that they can bring it to these LEC sister teams, and I think they definitely have at least a game in them. So I'm looking forward to this being the one. I like that they've drafted some more life into their composition, not just let's just sit back, chill, and hope they let us get to 35 minutes because it didn't really work. And I want to see them be aggressive, because one thing that can really happen is that, two things can happen. When you get into this position of series in the game 3, I've experienced this personally, you either go, oh god, they're crushing us already, we can't do anything, let's play really safe. That is a mistake. The second one is you go, look, we're 2-0 down, it's all or nothing now. We need to play aggressive and make this game ours, and I hope they do the second.
Everything is on the line here for Diabolus as they are 2 down versus Fnatic Rising. But Fnatic, they look to tie this series out in a 3-0 stomp as we head on to Summon's Rift for our 3rd game of this best of 5.
I just want to see them come out, be aggressive, and look for these plays, because if you play passive, Fnatic will crush you. They've done it again and again. You have nothing to lose at this point. You're 2-0 down. The series is in a dire strait. You might as well go all in on this 3rd game and try and get some momentum. Because if they start to fall behind in this one, I think it's going to be rough to find a comeback.
Lots of corrupting potions in this game. It's a corrupted game.
Very. And I like to see that Yusuf now want to pick that he doesn't have to take Doran Shield in the laning phase.
Yep.
He actually will look to trade. Prosper has a bit more space in this lane. When I was talking about the Braum Lucian, you get stunned very quickly when you go in. Into a Xayah Braum, you have a lot more time. You can use your grand entrance and then dash back out. So a lot more space to actually engage in this matchup.
Dan's going to start over at the Wolves. Can do that fairly easy with his Q. Monkey is starting up on the blue side, so junglers on the opposite side of the map from each other for the moment.
Ping's come out. I think they were aware there's a ward at the top Scuttle Crab. There is a ward at the Raptors of Dan, so they will be aware of him moving towards this red, I think. Actually, no, he's taking a slow route round, so they don't actually know where he is. That's pretty smart moves. So he's completely missed out on that ward.
What I do want to kind of keep track of here is, well, not keep track of, but talk about here is the keystone starts for some of these players in this game. Once again, Dan opting into the Halo Blades. With the Syndra, we've seen a few different things across the season. I've seen Meteor. The most common one really has been Airy, but we're seeing Croxon actually going for the Electrocute. I love the Electrocute. It's an aggressive rune. If you can find a combo off on Syndra, you do so much burst damage.
Yeah, there was definitely a lot of burst added to it. Magic Felix has gone for the more consistent Airy. And then we're interested to see the Fleet Footwork coming out from Yusa. I think it makes sense. The other option is press the attack, but Fleet Footwork synergizes really nice with the Storm Razor. and also it gives you some extra help in the laning phase, which is crucially where you struggled so far.
Well, Dan, looking to come over. That's going to be the Decimating Smash already used. He's stepping up. That tunnel's available. Shikari just gets a minion to taxi him in. The knock-up by Dan. And Fnatic are looking for first blood. The shield from Curb is big, but not big enough. Shikari finds the kill.
And this is the issue. Oh, that's a new Shikari emote we've never seen before.
Yeah, I was literally having this conversation. They were like, yeah, just use the Shikari second one. I was like, he doesn't have a second one. He only has the love heart one. No, he has a thumbs up one as well.
I feel like this is what we unlock in the finals.
Yeah.
This has been the real treat for us.
Shikari goes from love hearts to thumbs up. You know he's angry.
It's a completely different Dan, playing so much more aggressive, no longer just power farming. And this is the benefit from him dodging that ward. Diabolus didn't think that Dan would be topside. They thought he was on his bottom side. And so they end up getting the punish. Hado goes quite aggressively and gets punished. But it will just be a heavy trade, nothing more than that. But yeah, so, I mean, Dan's unpredictable pathing leads to a pretty easy gank on this Sion, so already going pretty good, and this is the start that Fnatic want.
It's Matty. Throws out the W. Just going for a trade. That knock-up is available to Prosper, but does need to be very careful, because concussive blows can stack up a little bit faster than you expect.
I think one big advantage is the fact that Fnatic have heal ignite, and Diabolus have teleport heals, so the all-in pressure is weakened drastically because heal's going to have full effectiveness if Mighty uses it. There's no ignite to shut down that healing and also the extra damage, so I feel like Prospect can play pretty aggressive in the situation as long as the enemy jungler's not there. And right now he's showing up top, so I think he's pretty safe. I think Shikari's definitely aware of where he was because he backed off drastically.
Watch Dan's pathing here. Gets over the wall, avoids the ward. He does not have flash, but he has the flank. He's waiting for that next tunnel to come off cooldown. Going to be a little bit of a while, so now he's pulling the trigger. Throws out the Prey Seeker. Prosper's going to step away and decide not to quite go for it yet.
I think this is one of the big difference because Dan has gone so heavy on ganking. He's gone behind in levels, doesn't have that flash. And he was very concerned about going in there when Mighty and Prosper were so far behind. So Mighty and Prosper did great acting. They didn't move at all when Dan showed up. The issue is they also didn't get into position. So there's the pros and cons.
Maybe it wasn't acting. Maybe it was real life.
Well, I think there's pros and cons to it. If you stay really far back, you're not going to spook Yusa and Hado. But at the same time, it means you're not in position to punish. And Hado and Yusa could just walk out. And now Croxton and Monk is taking some time to make moves around the river, establishing vision. And already this has been a better Diabolus. The only thing that's been a bit unfortunate is Kyrus in his top lane struggling against Shikari after that first kill.
He's having a really rough go of it. Magic Felix does need to be a little bit careful. Stun doesn't quite connect though, so he should be fine. Now hitting that level 6 mark with the portal jump to look to start to play from a bit of a range.
This is where they get so much threat from the Zoe. The portal jump means you can extend the paddle star range. And Croxton, without his level 6 still, isn't really able to do much in return.
Does need to be careful. Jumps in. Already used that portal jump. Drowsy comes out. Monk is holding fire. That's going to be the stun. Prospect's closing the gap, and it looks like Magic Felix will go down. Prospect comes over with shield. Croxton's ignited. Magic Felix holds his life, and the heal will be enough to save him. Watch Magic Felix though as he's got that flash. He's now got the heal. The Spell Thief is doing so much damage. Magic Felix jumps in. 1v2. Still got a heal to keep himself alive for the moment though. He's going to jump in and out. That cooldown's on. The heal's up. The knockout comes down, and Monk is running away. It's a double kill to Magic Felix!
And he shows how good he is on this Zoe. Flawless play. And like I said, Croxton going for this fight without his level 6, the difference was huge. An ult there from Syndra would have killed Magic Felix, and that entire tier to play would not have been able to happen. But instead, Prospect comes in, the Guardian and Shield from Rakan comes in clutch to save Magic Felix. And the end result is a massive win over the Fnatic.
The worst feeling in the world when you use all your summoner spells to escape the Zoe combo and she's just picking them up and throwing them back at you.
Absolutely. You know, Magic Felix getting fed already on the Zoe in a pretty good position. Dan's flash coming up soon, so you could look to punish that flash with Syndra. Not a good position to be in if you're Croxton.
Oh, jumps in, throws down the Drowsy. Can jump. Magic Felix, no, sorry, Dan, no flash. Drowsy will break, but they find themselves a knockup going a little bit wide. Scatter the weak. Gonna be held for the moment. That's the unleashed power into Danny, gets taken out. Paddle Star goes wide. Croxon should go down here. As the more sparkles is enough for Magifelix.
Dan just went too far, wasn't level 6 yet. Honestly, a bit disrespectful of the Syndra's damage. That's the difference between having the level 6 on the Syndra. You can do that. You can just kill people. And Dan does fall. But Magifelix picks up another kill, and now he's sitting pretty in the mid lane.
You can see Shikari's actually jumped in, got himself the stun, knocks him up with the ulti. Might just chase for the buckler. Good prediction of him going over the flag. Monkus hits 6, but he's going to go down as Prosper slaps him with some feathers.
Prosper's playing very well this game. He understands. He's been out for 2. He wants to make his presence known. These roams from him have been stellar. Saves Magifelix and turns on the previous play, and just there, turns up to help facilitate Shikari, but got to give credit to him as well. Shikari makes the moves down. And this is the power of that Poppy when there's a Jarvan on the table. Knocked him in the wall. The W meant he couldn't use his combo for such a long time, and the follow-up was so easy.
You can see Prosper hungry for this 3rd game. Hungry for his 3rd title here in the UKLC, well, in the UK.
Did in a row.
Shikari going for his 4th in a row.
A pretty big achievement for those players individually and also the Fnatic roster. Fnatic Rising's debut in the UK scene, and to be this close to a championship already, just complete success.
But it's not over yet. Diabolus are down 2,500 gold to Fnatic at the moment. Using now that BF sword with the shard.
The wings.
Monkus is, yeah, like you said, in that wings. Xmatty does have his flash and heal. Prosper with the quickness, making that dive fairly risky.
You know what's risky? Going up against the Zoe with 6 stacks on Darkseal and those Merc Treads as an advantage. It's really hard for Croxon to do anything because the stun, it lasts less time. The Zoe can constantly threaten all-ins. Oh, look, Magifelix now has Ignite. As if things went bad enough already.
I actually want to know where he got Ignite from earlier. Because in that fight where he got the kill onto Croxon, he ignited randomly.
He must have found it from a minion because there's no one on the side.
But
of
he had Smite when he walked into River. That's why I was so confused.
Yeah. Weird.
He must have picked it up. It must have faded away. I must have been silly. But it looks like for now, Xmatty is a little low on mana. This does mean any kind of like fighting and extended trades are going to be a little bit harder for him. As you can see, Monk is recognizing this, rotating up. The vision is all blue around this point of the map here for Diabolus. And Monk is still a little bit threatened by that quickness, by the flash, ignite, the heal. As the culling comes out from Xmatty, just putting some damage in. You can see Curb's even rotated down. He's got that unstoppable onslaught available, but not going to go for it. He's just forced to teleport back up.
Which is, I mean, a massive loss. The fact that you come bot, do nothing, then teleport away. And this now means that Shikari, in a bit of time, is going to have that TP advantage. Fnatic will move into that Rift Herald, and once that's off the table, you're pretty free as Shikari to make the TP down. Sam's not exactly going to push the tower very fast. And then Diabolus are playing 4v5 on the map.
3rd Rift Herald in this series spawns, and 3rd Rift Herald for Fnatic to take. You can at least say that Diabolus has done a good job of controlling these early Drakes in these games. As you can see, once again, they rotate members to this bot lane, just looking to get some plates up. Fnatic play with pure respect.
I like the priority, though, is in the previous games, Monkus would have just taken Dragon there. Here, he's like, look, a Cloud Dragon is not going to do much here, but unfortunately, them making that move means Rift Herald's going to get spawned up in the mid lane. Going to be at least 2 Platons going down here.
Yeah, all over the Magifelix. Gets himself the ghost, so he's feeling pretty comfortable as he lobs a bubble over the wall. Not going to find its mark, though. Kerberos actually might just be taking a little bit of damage. That ulti is available to Dan, but he's not going to go for it.
Would be a bold one to go for an ulti there, but does force Kerberos away. And now Shikari getting 3 plates of that top tower. So Fnatic, again, just finding these massive advantages. 12 minutes in, there's already a 3.5k gold lead.
He gets a ghost, picks it up, uses it, gets a ghost, picks it up, uses it, and then gets another ghost. He's had 3 ghosts in a row.
It seems very weird, though, because I'm not sure if the overlay is performing correctly, because we're not seeing the summoners on the ground.
Was there?
But and then he seems to always have ghosts.
Yeah, it's because he keeps picking them up.
He's had either he just got really lucky with 3 ghosts in a row, or unlucky, I guess, depends how you argue it. Or, yeah.
I'd quite like a cleanse versus a Syndra. That'd be quite nice.
Yeah.
Get scattered and use insta-cleanse.
I mean, Ignite's just nice for the all-in, because Krogson wants to cleanse the Sleepy Trouble bubble, so the Ignite is free after that.
Kerberos down 2 levels here to Shikari. That Sheen, that Ninja Tabby's been picked up on him. Got the Barmies as well.
Poppy puts out a lot of damage for a tank. There's actually a lot of base damage.
Yeah.
Especially on the back of the Sheen and that Buckler. Probably not enough just to solo out Kerberos, but if Shikari joins a team fight with that TP, he can definitely burst one of the squishies. And
I'm really glad that emoji showed up on the
Magifelix Zoe, yeah. I mean,
square. Are you calling him a square? He's got a redemption now. Oh, it was Heart Eyes, apparently.
I mean, he's pretty good at Zoe.
He is pretty good at Zoe. The Monkeys.
Yeah, actually,
has just been struggling so hard to find anything this game. As Magifelix throws out the Drowsy, does land it. Dan looking to try and just get the proc. That's a lot of damage.
Yeah, that Sleepy Trouble bubble bonus damage to the turn. And that's the most annoying one for Zoe to get, redemption.
Oh,
it's the worst because they can redemption.
I love getting redemption as Zoe in lane.
You can heal yourself up. You can use it to assist with the fight. It is by far the most frustrating to deal with.
Or one of the Hextech items early. If you get like a Proto Belt or a GLP, like pre-6, pre the time you should have that, it's really annoying.
Yeah,
because you do so much damage.
I think active items are just strong because everyone's gonna have summoners. Everyone has summoners, you know, but active items you should not have this early in the game.
Well, at this point you should. You can see Xmaddie has picked his active item up. That Blade the Ruin King's finished up for him.
Not if you're on Diabolus.
Yeah, but no one's building active items early.
Yeah, but everyone's struggling to build items. You look at the item difference between Magifelix and Krogson. You have that Lost Chapter boots versus the full Loons and the Merc Treads. And Shikari, you're going to take this tower. That Sheen helping out pretty big. He has Jolt, so there's no real threat of him getting caught up by Kerberos. And it's not a good omen for the game when you have a Poppy just solo taking towers against a Scion. And you look at the CS difference top. Just soak it in.
Yeah, it's big. It's unpleasant here for Kerberos. He's been on tank duty all finals when I think all of his key plays have come from, you know, the likes of his Yorick split pushing. I respect that's been banned away the whole time, but we've seen him on the Vladimir also banned away from him. But when he's on these carries, when he's on someone who's able to do something for the team, Kerb is shines so bright.
I think it's so hard against Shikari because this guy is literally, I mean, this is why he's won 3 times in a row so far, almost 4, coming up to it now if they get this game. He's just like a brick wall in the top lane. It feels like he very rarely lets you apply any pressure to him. And then if you pick...
Krogson might be in for a bit of trouble. Portal jump, flash! Spell Thief's not enough to get the kill. Krogson slivers away.
Yeah, but still showing how confident Magifelix is to go in for that. And once again, just more and more power. But the one saving grace is the pressure bot lane has meant Diabolus are able to pick up a tower then. This is good to see that at least they have some life in the bot lane because the rest of the map isn't doing too hot.
As a redemption on the floor. Nice, yeah. It's hard to see what it is sometimes. They're quite small.
I like how you lean in like an old man, like.
Put my glasses right at the end of my nose. What's this, laddie? Oh, a redemption.
It's faded though, unlucky. Magifelix, you won't get your hands on that one.
No, it's, that bubble has popped, but I think he's still quite happy. He's worth 850 shut down. Xmaddie with... He hasn't even got a lead, but he's worth 154.
That's CS for it.
What is...
The CS bounty.
What is shutdown, man?
Well, it's because it's relative to the enemy team.
Oh, okay.
So because the enemy team's really far behind...
Oh, bubble, that's going to be the culling. The knockup from Prosper onto 3 members. The Cataclysm's there, but it's a whitewash as Fnatic find themselves a double kill onto Xmaddie. A knockup into the Drowsy. They're chasing for more. Yusa gets flashed on. Monkeys is low, and Magifelix takes him out with the spell thieves. But Shikari, he don't give a damn about your turrets, and Magifelix doesn't give a damn about your health bar. A double kill on the Zoe, and now Kerb might just find himself on the menu. That's DogChamp saying, nice.
Just a slaughter coming out from Fnatic. They run away with the game and...
What?
They
are
here to murder
it's not
Diabolus.
Easter. Is that a joke if it's gone over my head? Does that make sense to you?
No.
I need someone to explain that to me. By the way, it's not Easter. Let us know on Twitter if you get that joke, because
I guess maybe we're saying it's not the Easter egg.
Oh.
Which is kind of unfair to the viewers.
That's super unfair. Magic Felix jumps in. Teleport's coming on. It's going to be Shikari.
They might kill him.
Got him. Magic Felix is running away for the moment, but he's going to go down. Or is he? Portal jumps in and out of the fight, but the shutdown. 1,000 gold to Croxon.
Woohoo! Finally, Diablo shows some life. They get a big shutdown, but it's still looking pretty dire. Even with that 1,000 gold, they're still 5k down at 18 minutes. That's really crazy to think about. They just got 1,000 gold bounty, and they're still 5k gold down. Oh, well, at least it went to Croxon. Can you imagine if Hado or Kerberos got that?
Yeah.
That would not be a fun time.
You can see, if you look at the build for X-Man, he's building towards that Essence Reaver as his next item. He's closing in on it as well. This Drake spawning up the Infernal in 19 seconds. Fnatic would love to get their hands on that. They've got the pressure to do so. They've got the lead to do so.
I think Croxon and Monk is going for a pick here, trying to find them, setting up for the vision. They will get that scuttle, but Fnatic are playing it by the book. They push, they push mid in, then rotate over to establish vision.
Well, it looks like they're booking themselves a ticket to the European Masters as the culling goes down. Croxon's getting chunked. Magic Felix jumps away at the paddle star, but enough to get himself the kill with the bubble. Honeyfruit to heal up Fnatic, and it looks like their prize will be an Infernal Drake.
Yeah, Monkeys might look for the steal here, but I don't think you're going to win the team fight. 2 levels down on Dan. You've got to be optimistic if you're going to get this one.
Well, Magic Felix has gone to sort out the waves as Curb's getting engaged onto by Xmadi. That Blade of the Ruin King doing a lot of damage, and now they're chasing up. Prospere chasing in. Here comes the knock-up, and you can see Monkeys over the wall. Bubble connects, but Drake is still aggro. Magic Felix can't find the paddle start. Prospere gets himself a knock-up. Curb is low. Can he go down? No!
The shield comes in clutch to save him from the ult damage. Kerberos gets knocked back to base. Fnatic will just turn back onto this dragon. Magic Felix is playing interruption. Monkeys, this is not a fun situation to be in. He has to back out. Infernal Dragon goes over to Fnatic. A bit comical with the interaction with the Scion shield, but at the end of the day, Fnatic still very much in control of this game.
Uncharacteristic mistake there by Shikari.
What, it wasn't a mistake, or was it just an outplay from Kerberos, timing the shield to block the ult? Because Shikari's ult would have killed him.
To be fair, yeah, it winds up, so I guess you have a little bit of time.
I mean, at the end of the day, they got what they wanted. Kerberos was out of there, so...
Yeah, more or less, he sent him back to base.
Yeah, yeah, very true. Oh...
That is, like...
I don't know,
we've had so many cannons with you just getting, like... I swear it's painful
to
well.
watch. It's painful to watch. It's just, it's so rough.
No, I don't watch any of my games then, mate. I miss plenty of cannons.
Especially when, I mean, I get it in lanes sometimes, but when you're sitting there alone with a wave, no one else is challenging you, and you miss a cannon, it's a bit like,
And you've also got a completed AD item. Like,
yeah. I think it shows the pressure, though. There's a lot of pressure on these teams, and mistakes happen a lot more frequently when you're in these pressure situations. Because I guarantee, you put Yusa in like a practice tool, and he'll hit a cannon 99 times out of 100. But you put him into a competitive game where he's 2-0 down against Fnatic, and he's scared about getting jumped on by Fnatic while going for this wave, and suddenly the pressure does make you misplay. And that's what you got to ask is this the pressure for Fnatic isn't there as readily, because think about it, you have these veterans on the roster. Shikari and Prospere have won this more times than I can fit on one hand between them. Matty has played in
I like
various
you showed
regions.
me your hand for reference, by the way, just in case I forgot how many
Dan having
fingers you
played
had.
for the old Fnatic Academy back when it was in the Challenger Series, and Magic Felix, I mean, he's had so many accounts in Challenger solo queue, I also can't count that in my hand. It's just, it's such a storied roster. It makes sense that Diablos are just really struggling with the pressure right now, whereas Fnatic,
Felix,
this is just another Sunday to them.
Magic Felix is squashing people on this Zoe right now. See, Shikari's working away at this tower with that Iceborne Gauntlet, has got that extra bonus sheen damage. Look at the vision control here for Fnatic. Shikari's going to take this turret down. Doesn't have teleport, which is key here, so he has to walk back up if they decide to go.
Probably sitting here regretting he didn't go for the Triforce. Because, I mean, Split Push Poppy is real. Well, I know Diablos on because I think they'd be losing a lot more right now. But Fnatic still got complete control of this game. The vision around Baron is just oppressive.
Well, that area did connect, but Hado blocks it up with the Unbreakable.
Monkeys does get away. A lot of damage coming back on Akira.
Oh,
he's
what?
the tank! He's the tank, and it hits so much!
I mean, he has no magic resist, but Jesus.
Oh, it's just painful.
I mean, he has a family. Oh, Yusa actually took that, but they're not actually going to commit.
That's Hado got in the back end. They will see them doing the Baron. This is the one miracle way back in the game.
Goes in. Oh, Monkeys loses half his HP. Sleepy Bubble Trouble does connect, and Magic Felix is 1v3ing Daedalus right now. Monkeys takes the culling, and Magic Felix flashes in for the kill. Back-to-back business, though, for Fnatic. They are going to be able to pick up this Baron Nashor. 23 minutes on the clock, and Fnatic are annihilating Diabolus in this best-of-3.
This is complete destruction, and I know people don't always want to say like a team plays like this in scrims, they'll play great, but I was actually talking to Bloomigan, the coach for Rogue's Academy team in the Ultra Liga, and they're a pretty strong roster. A lot of people hyping them up as one of the favorites for EU Masters. They said that out of the other LEC sisters teams from all the regions, they only scrim one team. Only one team do they rank as good enough in scrim performances, and that's Fnatic Rising. So. And then he asked, how come they're not performing in the UK to that level? And he said, well, I guess they're just choking on stage, but it feels like Fnatic have found their footing, and this is the sort of level they were delivering in scrims, but not on stage, and now they're finally bringing it in arguably one of the most important matches in the finals.
I mean, arguably one of the most important weeks as they are so close to the European Masters as well.
Absolutely.
At least guaranteed play-ins. If they win this game, they get group stages, which means they get an extra week to prep, an extra week to sort out, especially with Hogamis joining in so recently and their new ADC. They have a lot of time to get themselves set.
New mid laner.
New mid laner, sorry.
Yeah.
Mid laner, no idea.
Ronaldo is the other mid. We expected we won't see him as much as Magi Felix. Magi Felix is pretty storied on this roster, whereas Crossfire and Targamas both have a ton of competitive XP. Ronaldo's pretty fresh from solo queue. Crogston has to use the stopwatch there. They might look for an engage, but...
I love them. Here
go
comes
for it.
Daedalus. The Drowsy's already on. The Cataclysm's in. One kick kill, but a great ornament out to secure the fight as X-Manny slides into the fight. A double kill for him, and everybody's running low. The Unleashed Power, the Scatter the Wind by Crogston to buy time, but Curb is going to get headbutted in, and in comes Dan. A double kill for Shikari, and 4 members for Fnatic.
They got a shutdown. Crogston needs to play the Miracle Defense, but it's still going very favored Fnatic. 10k gold leading the Baron coming in as well. It looks like Fnatic don't rate their chances of ending the game here, but with an Infernal available and the Baron still up, they're in a pretty solid position. Actually, they're going to take the wave. They were just picking it up, and Shikari got a TP in, so even with people spawning, they want to get this inhibitor before they go for that dragon.
Makes sense. Want to just get some pressure on the map. They don't want to play this by the book. As they're not going to go for the inhib, just the turret for now and step
Playing
away.
it safe. It's the one way you throw the game is by overcommitting. So they are going to reserve the pressure a bit more. Just saw Crogston miss another cannon minion off the side. I don't know how he always catches it.
Fnatic Death Brush. It's the Fnatic Death Brush. Diabolus are going to be punished. And Monkeys forced to go golden for the moment. Curb is on that flank, though. Magic Felix is not in the fight. Yusa throws out the Void Seeker. Can jump in with a Killer Instinct, but he steps away. Magic Felix with a Paddle Star onto one. The bubbles landed onto Curb. They're going for more damage. And oh, my lord! Half his HP is just deleted by Fnatic. Magic Felix throwing bubbles and stars and everything he can into Diabolus' face.
We didn't get a chance to see Magi Felix Zoe before this, I believe. I think it was always respect banned away from him. And I think Diabolus decided to see what would happen when they left it open. Now we know why it was banned all those times.
Oh no! Shikari in between towers, soloing out Monkeys.
I mean, you said the line last time, I'll say it this time. Hate to say it, but Fnatic are smurfing right now.
All right, Fnatic, you need to put it on Twitter and quote me, Hip Brain.
They will start to push the bot lane, and at this point, really hoping for a miracle here from Diabolus, but I don't think there's a ton they can do. Look at that damage!
Oh! Magic Felix is actually straight up 1v9ing this game.
His damage
popping off.
is just absurd.
He's got the Death Cap, he's got the Ludens, he's got the Oblivion Orb, he's got a Fiendish Codex so he can jump as much as possible.
A full Dark Seal, you know, he has so much AP, and the thing is...
Get the Medjais.
We saw what happened in the last fight when they did manage to kill him. They still lost because you still have this 406 Lucian. You still have this unkillable Poppy. even if they kill MagiFelix, they don't win. But with MagiFelix up, they just have no hope.
Yeah, I feel like
so
1v9
strong.
was actually a little bit of an unfair statement. All of Fnatic are playing incredible, but
And you got
I want to see damage post-game. I really want to see damage post-game here, because I feel MagiFelix probably has double anyone in this game at this point.
Absolutely would make sense. And you got to give credit to Prosper in this situation. Coming in, gets subbed in, and it doesn't feel like Fnatic has changed at all. They still feel just as solid as they did in the first 2 games.
This is a good rotation there by Diabolus, and they pick up the tier 1. Might even get tier 2. They do step away out of respect because they realize Fnatic are just split pushing away, and the more sparkles at this point from MagiFelix is just allowing him to secure these turrets.
We don't tend to see a split push Zoe. We tend to think of it not as the best champ to go on a side lane. I feel like currently MagiFelix can go wherever he wants. I feel like he is so strong. He can split push. He can go 1v5. He is just so hard to kill. And oh no,
MagiFelix doesn't actually have portal jump. He just used it, so Krogson's fine. That's
I like how the whole of Diabolus are like, oh god, oh god, oh god. We're gonna lose
had
one.
cleanse, to be fair. I think he knew the portal
I think he was aware that he was going to die from that. The portal jump had just been used, but still, it's so scary when that comes down. Because you know, that's what you need. One Sleepy Trouble Bubble and a paddle start, and you die.
Well, that's going to be the bubble.
Unbreakable's there, though.
Has got that breakable, but goes in. Half health Shadow, even through the unbreakable.
Not so unbreakable.
Pretty breakable, actually. It's a paper mache shield.
Yeah,
Fnatic definitely, you can tell they're playing this game knowing that if they lose this, they have to play another game.
Yeah, they want to clean 3-0.
They don't want to give Diabolus any momentum in this game. They think in this series.
The biggest person will want this as well as Prosper. Targetmaster's come in, won those first 2 games. You do not want to lose the 3rd one.
And Prosper, props to him, has had an incredible game. His Rakan has been so clean. He's been always in these big engages, finding multi-man knockups, charming everyone. That's just Prosper's charisma, to be fair.
My matchup to watch this game was Dan against Monkeys, because Monkeys have been really solid so far this tournament, and Dan has just absolutely murdered him. Monkeys has not
he
had
has flash, he does have cleanse. They're going to knock him up. The cleanse comes down, but it's not going to do much. Just throws out the culling, and he will melt. Xmatty cuts through him for his 5th kill of the game.
Yeah, I mean, just out of position and a good engage coming out from Fnatic. There's not a ton you can do, and now they'll push on the base. 2 inhibitors already down. The Sleepy Trouble Bubble.
Watch this damage! Half HP of Curve.
Considering he's so tanky, it's so scary, and the cooldowns are so short. He has them so frequently.
The Fiendish Codex is doing so much work for him. That's going to be the 2nd inhibitor down. Throws the flash out.
He gets
the Bowsy off. Can he actually get the kills? The question is... Oh, what? MagiFelix, that was so good! And now it looks like Fnatic might just be looking to close this series out here. Kerberos will fall down, and it's only Monkeys to watch as his base, his game, everything is in shatters. MagiFelix gets shut down by Kerber's zombie, but it won't do anything. 21-4, Fnatic are going to 3-0 Diabolus and crush them. They are your LVP UK champions.
What a performance. There is the roster. Did have the sub from Targamas, so obviously is another one onto that roster. But what a great performance from them coming out. They just crushed Diabolus, and I think Fnatic was somewhat unhappy about waking up at 10 AM 2 days in a row because they wanted to get back to bed as soon as possible. They closed that one out fast. And credit Shikari back to back champion of the UK. And
Prosper as well, he got 3 in a row now.
He's got 3 in a row, but he's overshadowed by Shikari, unfortunately.
I don't think anyone on this roster is overshadowing anyone. I think everybody for Fnatic Rising played incredible today.
True.
Shikari, unbreakable wall. Dan, an absolute beast. Every lane,
he just made
Monkeys. Impact. Yes,
he just killed him.
Shut Monkeys out completely. Dan completely deserves this MVP. No in second item Infinity Edge as well, so props to you on that one. I also want to big up MagiFelix. Consistently good, all tournament long, to be fair.
I mean,
he's been a solid backbone for this team.
I think he put the fear of Zoe into all of our viewers. That was disgusting.
Now I feel bad for maining Zoe after watching that
You're
game.
the weirdest kind of person.
And you also got to give it to Xmatty. As an ADC, this man has been one of our strongest here in the UK. Today, again, it's kind of hard to say when you had Dan and MagiFelix doing so much work, but he was always the janitor. He was always perfectly positioned in these team fights. And in Targamas for the first 2 games, apart from the one time where he denied Fnatic from a perfect game by dying once,
yeah,
we'll let that pass because outside of that, played fantastic well. And then Prosper stepping in for game 3.
I mean, it's a fact
huge
that
game.
sometimes my worry with subs, especially since Targamas was such a late addition, that maybe it indicated they were having problems with Crossfire, or maybe it indicated that, you know, they're not going to have as much time practicing with Targamas. But it felt like it was just an asset to them. They had this interchangeability, and it didn't detriment to their team at all. They played flawlessly throughout the series, and, you know, it was just a stomp.
Hello. How you doing?
I watched that from the sidelines, obviously, being in the control room with the observers, and that was disgusting. I mean, I've never seen Fnatic look better, and I think there was a massive step up for Fnatic over the course of this weekend, but honestly, disappointing from Diabolus too. I was expecting a bit more from them, but you can't take away how well Fnatic played, and I think they deservedly are going to represent us in the EU Masters at the group stages immediately.
I guess it's traditional to the org. Fnatic just get this huge playoff spot. Because you've seen the same thing happen in the LSC with the main team. They hit playoffs, and it's like, oh, we're a new team, we're going to stomp everyone. Fnatic Rising, it's the exact same thing. They haven't had the cleanest split, but boy, have they had the cleanest last week.
Fnatic knew that we wanted a really back and forth season, so they were like, well, we won't just hold the tower the whole time. We'll kind of troll you guys, go back and forth. We're so confident, we'll even give the playoff spot to another team.
I think Diabolus can hold their heads high, though. I think even though that was a rough final series for them, they still have a European Masters play-in spot.
Yep.
And they came out as the top point earners in the regular season, beating out the other LEC sister team of the XL.
Yeah,
exactly.
I think you have to think about as well, it's going back to the point I made in the game about how Bloomigan, the coach for Rogue's LEC sister team, says that, again, they scrim like the highest quality teams because they are one of the strongest European regional league teams.
The Ultra Liga looks really strong, yeah.
They said the only academy team they scrim is Fnatic Rising, and when asked, but they aren't performing that well in the UK, they said they're just choking. And this feels like today, Fnatic didn't choke. I think it's testament to how strong this roster is that they go toe-to-toe with Rogue's roster because the Ultra League looks insane. I think Diabolus shouldn't think of this as they dropped the ball massively. It's more Fnatic were just such a strong team today.
I think they maybe weren't expecting that level from Fnatic coming into this series.
I wasn't expecting that level.
No, I
expected it to be a lot closer.
I predicted them to win.
Yeah.
But
and actually, the marbles
got it right.
are right.
More importantly, the marbles got the correct prediction.
So, I think for Forge of Champions, which will be starting up in 6 weeks, 6 weeks?
May-ish time.
Yeah. So, for Forge of Champions, I want to hear from you guys over on Twitter. What do you think should be our next prediction method? I was talking about something kind of like Kaplunk style. Do you remember Kaplunk?
Yeah, I remember Kaplunk.
That was a great game. So I want to see what you guys at home think. What can we use to predict the next game?
The monkeys that hang on, like the little hanging monkeys that hang up like that.
I think that's kind of like Kaplunk.
That's like Kaplunk.
Kaplunk, so you have the marbles and you pull the things out. Anyway, guys, obviously we have got lots of things coming up here. This is not the end of the UKLC. We're going to have obviously more seasons, and we have got that interim tournament of the Forge of Champions going on. Now, if you want to get involved in Forge of Champions, sign-ups are open. So you can go to the Forge of Champions and sign up to the competition. It is open to anybody to enter.
Yeah, so if you're sitting back here and going, wow, these guys, both these teams look garbage, I could take them both on, you can now put your money where your mouth is and challenge them yourself in the Forge of Champions.
And even if maybe you don't feel like you have what it takes to go against a team like Fnatic Rising, but you just want to have a bit of fun with your friends, it's open for you as well. Anyone is free to come play in the Forge of Champions, so do sign up.
Crucially, the teams that come out at the top of that will have a chance to get promoted into the UKLC next split, so could be one of the teams that we talk about up here.
That's the key thing as well. We got 2 relegation spots up. It's Bulldogs, is it?
Bulldogs and Darkspawn are the teams that are up for relegation. So it's not even you have to think you can beat Fnatic Rising. If you think that you can beat out those teams, then there's a pretty good shot if you make it into the UKLC for the next split.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Forge of Champions is going to be really cool. We're going to be seeing that in 6 weeks. Obviously, if you're interested to see how the UK does at the European Masters, that will be broadcasting throughout April. Make sure you check out the LOL EU Twitter. They should. And I'm sure LVP UK Twitter will also be tweeting updates about the EU Masters and our team's progressions. And I want all of you at home to make sure you're thoroughly supporting Fnatic and Diabolus going into this, because they are going to have some tough challenges. Every European regional league has looked insanely strong over the course of the last split. And I think going into European Masters, we really need to get behind our boys and make sure they perform well. So make sure you're cheering for all of our teams that are entering into the European Masters in the upcoming month. And then by the end of April, we'll have a winner.
Well, we actually do have an interview coming up in a minute, so we'll have that in a second. But yeah, I think a big props to both Diabolus and Fnatic for representing the UK, especially Diabolus, because they've been so close every time we've had a UK team has gone forward to represent the UK. And this third time, it worked the charm. They got their spot. Now, I believe there's only 2 teams can make it out of play-in, so they've got a bit of an uphill climb for them. But, I mean, I'm going to be cheering for Diabolus. I'm cheering for my Devil Boys. But we have an interview with Prosper from Fnatic. So, Prosper, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, you know.
There
we
he
just
is.
won the finals, obviously, even if I only did play 1 game. But, yeah, pretty easy. Best of 5 compared to my last 2.
I mean, when you only play 1 out of a best of 5, it's great. How does it feel to get like such a convincing win over Diabolus? I know you obviously didn't play the first 2, but like to literally get your 3-0, and they were dominating 3-0s.
I mean, I'm just pleased we're finally playing like I know we can as a team. I think from obviously scrims on everything, but I'd say we're like a top 3 national team. For me, I'd say it's like Rogue, LDLC, and us are better than everyone else, at least if we play our best.
I said that.
And I only think we could probably beat some LEC teams, like some of the lower ones. So playing like this, I think just going forward to moving into being consistent is what we need to look to do. But I think we should be looking to play like this every game at EU Masters.
Which would obviously be a great performance. So obviously we've had the substitution between you and Togmas. How do you feel that has sort of benefited you as a roster? What do you think it offers being able to alternate you two being in the game?
I think initially there wasn't any plans to do this, but one thing that Targamas has done is he worked incredibly hard. I don't think he needed to come to... I don't think he was expected to come to every day of scrims, but even when he wasn't having game time, he came to every single day and he watched all the games. And so he kind of put in a lot of work, and now we're pretty much, I'd say, like, it's 50-50. I think the team is at a similar level with both of us, so I know we're both just looking to kind of challenge each other and play as many games as possible, but it's obviously really good for me to have someone behind me who's so skilled, kind of making sure I'm working hard, because if I slack even a little bit, I know that Targamas is there to kind of step up, and I'm sure he's in the same position. So yeah, I couldn't really ask for anyone better to kind of share a spot with. He's got a great mentality and he's really hardworking.
I'm hoping you can hear me actually, because I don't know whether my microphone is on the same thing.
It is now.
It is now. I hope you can hear me. Obviously, first of all, massive congratulations as well. You are the UK champion. And do you know what's been really awesome for me is to see how much you as a player has grown over the last 2 years. I mean, you've gone from doing sort of, I guess, mid to low level teams to being one of the best players in the entire UK. And it's been really awesome to see that for you. And I'm really sort of proud, I guess, of our UK talent. I want to talk about looking forward, because now that you're the UKLC champion, we're looking forward. You've got the European Masters coming up. How have you felt in terms of your relative strength with the rest of the ERLs? What do you think Fnatic has got going forward into the European Masters?
I mean, as I said before, I think if we play our best, we can win EU Masters. I think we should at least be...
Did he? Oh, wait, I can't hear, obviously.
Oh, can you not hear him? Right.
I think we should at least look to make top 4.
It was really good question.
I think anything less than that is anything less than that is kind of an underperformance. But I think we could win the whole thing if we play our best. It just kind of depends.
I mean, if they play to this form,
I didn't realize you didn't have an ear, because he literally just said us, Rogue, and LDLC are like the best 3, and we're way above everyone else.
I was trying to lip read. I was looking at him on the screen. I was trying to lip read, but it wasn't working.
And then you got lost in the eyes, right?
Here's my big question for you, Prosper. Well, one, does Shikari need to be nerfed?
Absolutely. I think I read 8.6 and I just see there's nothing to do with Shikari. It was really concerning. I think this patch is really good for us actually. So EU Master should be really good.
Yeah, absolutely. And
I want to ask, because at the beginning we were, you saying you wanted to show everyone that you actually have a pair of arms. Do you feel that you showed your arms off this tournament?
Well, I think on this team I'm really not of like a main voice like at all. I'm not really someone communicative so. Before this split, for example, I would have said, like when I was on Misfits, I would have said Targamas is like the kind of player that wants to win lane, whereas I'm like a shot caller. And I thought he was better than me anyway, whereas now we fill the exact same role. And I feel like I can kind of match up to him. So I think I've done a really good job of kind of showing that, yeah, because like I don't have any value as like or I have very little value as like a shot caller or a voice on this team. Actually, a lot of what we were kind of learning over the split is that we perform better the less I talk and the more I play as my own player. So there was like a lot of things that I had to learn swapping over from that. It was quite a hard transition, but everyone on the team was really supportive of me changing role and like the struggles I kind of had to go through. And yeah, like I'm glad I got this experience, and I think I've really developed as a player. So I think I did manage to show this.
I think now I can actually hear you. Last question.
you're playing with Dan, who I think has been around Challenger as long as I've been alive. He's kind of been a sort of a very long-standing, high-tier jungler. What has he brought to the roster that you feel like maybe you've been missing from previous rosters? He seems like he's been a really good voice of experience for the team.
I think Dan's mindset's really good. Honestly, like, I think he's by far the best player on the team, but the way our team works, it revolves around Dan, so I think he gets a lot more room to show it off. Like, I don't think he's necessarily just individually better. But the way our team works is that kind of Dan controls what we're doing and makes the plans. So the game revolves around him. So I think, like, honestly, like, I never have any complaints with Dan. Like, he seems to always outpath the enemy jungler. You know, we could scrim Fnatic, and I would have no doubt in my mind that he's going to play up to the level or better than Broxer. So I'm not worried with that. He's also, like, a really great, like, leadership figure in and out of game. Like, he, like, talks to everyone all the time, making sure that, like, if they're having any issues, he'll discuss it with them, make sure that, like, he can help them through it. If there's anything he can say, give his perspective. I just think this guy works really hard in almost every aspect, and he kind of fills every role you could imagine on a team as, like, a leader and a player.
Plus, he has a great name.
Plus, he does have a great name. Congratulations, Prosper, on your win and taking the first UKLC championship. Also, good luck at the European Masters, and hopefully we'll see you there.
Thanks
We
very
will
much.
see him there, just see him.
Well, I mean, I'm talking live finals, mate.
Okay,
That's what I
okay,
want to
okay.
see him in Leicester.
All right,
Yeah,
thank you,
hopefully
Prosper.
we-
You've been
Thank you very
amazing.
much.
Cheers.
Yeah.
So, they had opened the door for me, by the way, so I could hear the
Yeah.
voice echoing through. I didn't actually expect that I'd crossover questions. I was trying to lip read, but never
Well,
mind.
it's just, yeah, because
Getting a double affirmation that they're the best team is great, you know.
Yeah, you know, it's
One of
confidence
the
as
best
well.
teams.
said
one of the
them,
best teams.
LDLC, and Rogue are the ones to watch, so should be pretty hypey.
I'm looking forward to that. I really am, and maybe he didn't mention anybody from the Spanish league as well either. So that's
I've been hearing things about that league. I don't think it's quite the dominant force.
I think a
we've
lot
had
of
in
talent
previous
got
years.
drained up to the LEC. You
Splice
know, like,
Vipers has been on the up, though.
they
so-
have, yes. They got the boy XD Smiley plays for Spice Vipers, right? No, is that the other? He's G2.
Yeah, Splice Vipers has Freeze, so...
Oh, okay,
he's pretty
Freeze.
good.
Oh, yeah, Freeze is, yeah,
okay.
experience.
Draven main.
Right, guys, this has been a massive, massive split, and I've really enjoyed every moment of the UKLC over the last 7 weeks or so that we've had together. I don't really know how to round it out. And
There's been whiteboards getting pushed over. There's been whiteboards getting rugby tackled. There's been
whiteboards generally getting thrown around.
Marble races and violence. There's been hype. There's been low points for some teams. There's been high points. It's been great. It's been so fun, and thank you very much for joining us here on this journey here at the UKLC. Now, if you guys do miss us, you can head over to the YouTube LVP UK. You can catch up on all of the previous games from the tournament, the finals from today, and even our previous Forge of Champions back from last summer. And if you guys want to get in touch about Forge of Champions or just keep your eyes on when everything is starting up, head over to our Twitter at LVP UK. So guys, thank you very much for joining us here at the UKLC, and we'll see you for Forge of Champions.
See you for Forge.